future that I wanna see. There's no one else I'd rather share this with. Nobody knows my imperfections quite as perfectly. You guessed it, it is you that I'm thinking of when we're apart. You're my searchlight when I'm in the dark. It is true. I give it all, I give my heart. You're my searchlight when I'm in the dark, when I'm in the dark.
Boise State Esports Arena. You are watching our coverage at NECC Collegiate Overwatch in NACE, Boise State, UCI, and are the big players to watch out for the race to the champion spot in the Western Group. I am your host, Artie Nerdy Bird Rain, and joining me on desk to call all of the action is Colin Majunkin. Okay, so a huge patch was dropped last night. Well, how do you feel about the Ramattra nerf?
I think it's needed. From my play time with Ramattra and more of a support role, honestly, it felt very strong. The survivability was almost astounding, the level that was there. So I think it's a needed nerf, especially the ultimate. Stalling that out, not getting the ability. It's just like anyone's in the circle, no matter how much damage you take, it's going to last however I want it. So I think it's a good one.
I don't know how many people here watched the CECC West qualifier over the weekend, but myself and the co-caster pointed out that even a 20-second nerf isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment where Clear and Frosted on Rialto were both in NEM form. Sorry, were both in Annihilation, and it lasted, I'm not even joking, for like an entire minute. It was horrifying, anxiety-inducing, and boring at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Break down what exactly happened to Ramattra that you think can actually. that might be a positive to stop that from happening. Yeah,
Nothing.
the 20-second,
Nothing.
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 You think nothing.
No, because it's like previously it continued to go no matter, like, if you had someone in it, the timer stopped for
Yeah.
the duration. Now it's just slowed down with a maximum of 20 seconds. But I haven't played ROM yet, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that slowdown is like it just slows down the 20-second depletion timer and like it ticks down slower when you have people in it. So in theory, it is longer than 20 seconds.
Which is still very long. Is
Either
that the
way,
longest?
even if it is
ultimate?
20 seconds, I don't care. That's too long.
Yeah. But what's the appropriate nerve then?
The appropriate nerve is set a hard, like, 10-second time limit on it. And in case you're new to the NECC Overwatch Collegiate Tournament, it is Overwatch 2, best of 5, all active maps, a 5v5, starts with control, goes escort, and hybrid push, and then control not played. And so far, this is going to be one of our first official weeks of NECC, and today we're actually going up against Guam. So they are in a slightly different time zone, and it'll be interesting to see how both teams perform, considering there's going to be a huge ping difference.
Yeah, especially first day patch. I mean, I know my main game doesn't really, if a patch note drops, it doesn't really make us change our play style for Rocket League. But I imagine a lot of FPS, it feels very different, especially when a patch like this drops. So to be in a competitive scenario as well.
And it looks like our first map is going to be on Nepal, starting out on Village, which tends to be everyone's most hated map of the 3 sub-maps.
4, 3,
I kind of agree with that. I think it's my least favorite out of the bunch. I wouldn't say hey, but might as well. If there's a train, hop on it.
And it looks like we are going to be rolling out on the composition we saw this weekend, which is the Wrecking Ball, Mercy, Farah, Kiriko, and Tracer. Disruption is the name of the game for this composition coming out for the Broncos.
Getting right into it. Matt, this ball. Oh, already getting to the boob.
First environmental of the game, and then Goblin playing cleanup crew with the pharmacy, getting 3. I do believe, yeah, it's just Pilot Diva left, and everyone falls. Team kill for the Broncos. Point cap over towards them as well.
We're getting a little bit of farm swing. A little bit of chip damage coming in. Nothing too horrible.
Peppering damage down from above. They are choosing to try and stuff into this high corridor to get into the high ground and challenge the Broncos. Not the best idea, considering there's a Farah who can just pelt damage down from behind, who is 2% off of Rocket Barrage and looking for the opportunity. There it is, as though I manifested it. Goblin getting a 4-piece, getting the 5K. That is an ace for Goblin, and the first one of the game.
That's play of the game.
No, yeah, no argument. No
100%.
argument.
100%. Already sent right back to the respawn point. Do you see the swatch with Ash?
See how that goes. They're debating pushing through main, it looks like. Ash and Soldier both on low ground and Ana. Suzu already forced pile drive from Matt Merck is going to land, and he's going to be able to pick up the Soldier 76. Farah now just pelted damage from above and looking to pinch off. It looks like the Kirikos, and once again, someone else. The Ash is extremely low, goes down. Diva doing the best they can to protect their teammates, but it's going to be very difficult when they're in a lot of open space. Now Kel coming in to try and get Diva out of mech. Not going to happen. Have to retreat.
Getting kind of pushed off. Not even really contesting them points since the first fight. Really struggling to get any type of footing here.
Well, when you've got a pharmacy that is going on to, I think there might just be a lobby problem. So perhaps it's due to the ping difference. They are in Guam.
Yeah. The island. Very far away from us. Not close is how you describe it. So, but that's what happens when you play video games. There's always a pinging issue.
I mean, we did just do the Dodia tournament a couple weekends ago, and it's very early for them, if I am correct. And we
Yeah.
are going to take a quick look at Doc's keys to the game here, presented by Drop In Gaming, which are take fights in unexpected places, like Goblin's Farah. Don't make positioning mistakes. I'm not going to say the example. Win the 1v1s, win fights before the objectives. Doc's keys to the game are brought to us by Drop In Gaming, which is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or seasoned veteran, Drop In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com.
Starting out. I wonder if it's going to be a full reset.
Possibly.
You think so? Full reset?
I mean, I think it's technically against the rules.
I would think so. You're pretty far. You're pretty deep into the map. Is there any way to just be like, hey,
Gentlemen's
can we go
agreement?
back to 90%?
No.
Yeah.
You just
so,
have to restart the map.
Yeah. Unless you give them just the amount of point and move on with it. Because it is a 2-point, so. You're not out of it.
No, but
It's also out of anyone's control. Can't really blame
well, the
Guam.
rule is in this instance, the team that makes the lobby obviously gets to pick the server first, and I believe it was the Broncos because they're the home team, which is
Yes.
decided by NECC. It's not decided by us or anyone else. So with that in mind, we are going to pick the best server for us, which is going to
Yeah.
make horrendous ping for the other team. This is something our Broncos have had to deal with themselves going into championship matches, just the way the game is when you're not playing a LAN tournament. And then the loser gets to request a server change.
Yeah.
So theoretically speaking, Guam, despite the insane lag, is gonna have to deal with it. And then next map, the Broncos get to deal with it because Guam gets to swap the server.
Which even then, I'm wondering how much that'll impact the Broncos. It's just going to be the back and forth because I know it can be a back and forth thing of just the series just gets super prolonged, especially when you have teams that are so opposite of each other in terms of ping-wise and location. So, but maybe it's not a ping. Maybe it's not a ping thing. Maybe it's just lobby bug, lobby issue.
New patch drop
New
that's
patch.
bugged. Small indie company, by the way.
A what?
Small indie company, by the way.
Small indie company. How many employees? 2, 3, maybe max.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so it's fine. It's okay. Forgivable.
I'm trying to ESP and understand what's happening up there. I don't hear a lot of clicking, so they're not in game. Can we get Matt Merck's face cam? He's got a really nice camera out there.
I think if you're able to like, for lack of better words, understand the. Oh, okay, well, never mind. But the emotion was saved. Just from looking at their face, be able to understand what is going on. I'd be pretty impressed. I'm not gonna lie. Just a quick little overview of the map. Second point. Looking like it's gonna move to. Still waiting on any confirmation.
Ready for battle.
One bad thing about having to fully restart here is that the Broncos now have their entire composition revealed to Guam. Do they have the opportunity to counterpick, even though I think they technically did?
In 3,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It looks like the one never mind. Wait, what? Okay, yeah. They just used the Lucio speed boost. I was like, hang on a second. Are we going to have Goblin going in with no help? And we have Jam Toast actually swapping over onto the Mercy. I don't believe we had them starting on Mercy. And Zero is going to be picking up the Cassidy as opposed to the Soldier 76. They are counter picking.
Already diving into it. Sort of the same composition they had going on. Same little Kree. Ooh. I'll take a little pick off. Merc about to get a third, almost third pick off. Just like that, already securing the first round.
Just circling back to
first
point. Yep. Just a repeat of what we saw earlier. Caps. I'm just going to go with Caps 2. Going to call you Caps. Trying to match Matt Merck on that Wrecking Ball. Not sure how that is going to work out because Matt Merck's Wrecking Ball is disgusting in the nicest way possible. Now, lots of damage being pelted down from Goblin, who's not really getting a whole lot of challenge. Lots of blue beaming going on from Bagel on that Mercy pick. Trying to pick off this Mercy,
no.
who's caught out. Oh, no. Poor Mercy got back into spawn, but Zero goes down as well. So they chose to go with the Reaper over the Cassidy, which is an interesting swap, trying to maybe just counter pick the Wrecking Ball.
I would think so, but you go for the counter pick on the Wrecking Ball, and you're just going to get out DPS by Goblin.
Yeah.
At the Sky Barrier.
Most
so
definitely.
Zero has to do something if they want to give
Oh.
any bit of opening.
So Zero did do something. They went Ash. Milky is swapped over to the Reaper. Capstone swaps over to the Diva. So it seems like they're falling back into more comfort picks rather than just trying to full-blown counter comp, which can work out as we have the Wrecking Ball mines get dropped on point. Well, sorry, in front of the spawn for Guam.
Yeah, it's just this. Oh, actually, the pick on Mac. This could give them the opening they need. Goblin does have Barrage and does get the supports. No, is going to get a Matrix out. Does get one support, though. Does get Tectonic, so.
Props to Diva for saving their supports in that moment. However, the cleanup crew of Kel is going to come in and finish them off with a little bit of help of Matt Merck.
Yeah, just like that. They're already back in the fight. They can't even get out of spawn at this point. They get one pick, then you pay for it in two, so. Guam struggling to find any footing here as we close on the last 5% of this point.
And Milky did go to the Sombra, trying to take away the cooldowns here for Matt Merck, but you have to be able to get out of spawn undetected in order for that to work out, and round one is going to go in favor of the Broncos. Now, are we going to go to Sanctum next? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Sanctum. I mean, map preview sort of.
Yep, it's Sanctum. You got it right.
Why wouldn't it be? You know, I have a feeling. Matt Merck's gonna have a lot of fun if they go the ball again or go any other character that has a booping ability.
Okay, per se you don't need you don't technically speaking have to go ball here. The meta prior to the massive patch that dropped today, which congratulations to every single NECC game player that has to play today on the brand new patch without practice. You would go, you'd go for the Orisa here or the Ramatra. And now we've got Matt Merck on the Ramatra. Still Capstone on, well, Caps 2 on that Diva. Jam Toast is gone with the Bat. Milky dead set on taking away cooldowns, not anticipating the round swap. I think they're really thinking Matt Merck was going to stick with the ball. And Jam Toast goes down to Goblin. You have to check your heads quite frequently if there is Goblin on the Widowmaker on any map. Ramatra in that Nemesis form going to do quite a bit of damage, drop the Venomous Pit, and is able to pick up another. Diva gets low. We already see the Kiriko, Swift Step, and Suzu, and she's going to get incredibly low as well. Diva now left alone. Has a hacked health pack, which has helped her stay alive quite a bit here, but it's not going to be enough. She's probably most likely going to get D-Bag. D-Mag not foreseeing a stall, though, from the Broncos, as they have point locked down already. Just going to try and play cleanup crew here in the mid area in front of the spawn.
Expecting this tank swap. Yeah, there it is. There's a Ramatra swap as well. The Bastion, I imagine, is to out DPS the shield and, quite frankly, probably Matt Merck, but the first attempt to do it didn't work out, but that's why you respawn, you get to try again. Still fighting the spawn point. Guam has not been able to push out of their own swamp. There is Matt going to Annihilation extremely low, but nevertheless getting a three-piece. Ultimately does get taken out by the Ana, though.
Yeah, Matt had like no health once that Ramatra ult ended, and I don't think our supports wanted to peek after they saw the Hanzo swap. It's more like RNGesus took the wheel for a moment, and even if you're smart about your peek, sometimes you're just not anticipating it. And you do end up dying, as we have Dragon Strike dropped straight through the first choke area. Ramatra pushed through it, but got very low. Kel plays cleanup. It gets two of them. Did not get any in the Dragon Strike, though, which is unfortunate. Now Bagel's going to push forward, get antied, and get punished for being a little over-aggressive. Now Moira, with Coalescence, going to pick up the slack with the lack of their other support. Really not doing support, doing DPS, but at the end of the day, That's what most Moiras do at this point.
Yeah. Why not DPS when you have the option to? Who wants to use the heal? Your team doesn't do it. Some of this window card. Nash is going to come out on transformation. 1000 HP could go bye-bye in a second with his Bastion, but out of form and doing a lot of damage. There's the Nano being committed, and Matt Merck in a lot of danger. They're just going to completely ignore Matt Merck. Push on a point, and there's the pick.
Well, name of the game is not so much kill the tank, it is kill the things keeping the tank alive. And poor Ana gets pushed into the corner. Milky goes down. Chosen and Kel go down to 0. Perfectly placed Bastion ultimate in the corner, recognizing everyone was stacked up, but Bagel is going to take out the final player on the field, and that's going to be first map in favor of Boise State.
And if I'm correct, it is a best of 5.
Yes.
So it is versus 3. So already looking a little bit of favor, but like you said, the loser now gets to choose server. But I'm anticipating that it wasn't a server problem. I mean, I could be completely wrong. We don't get a look at the pings, and from their point of view and honestly how they're playing it, it didn't look like I'm lagging too much to do anything. You can kind of distinctly tell when that's happening to a player, so. But we won't know until we get to map 2.
So next map choice is going to be hybrid, well, escort and then hybrid, I believe. I'm just verifying. It's been a while since I've cast an ace, but I love it.
Yeah.
It is going to be escort next. Theoretically speaking, if they're trying to counterpick the ball composition that we saw the Broncos run earlier on the more open maps, best of luck is all I can really say to that.
Yeah. That mat on the ball looks really annoying. I'm happy I'm on a desk casting it and not in trouble facing it.
You want to know the funnier part?
What?
Clear can also play ball.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
So if they really want to be mean and change it up, they get a different ball who plays a little bit different, so that's harder to counter. Now, do the Broncos need to do that? No. Might they because Matt doesn't want to stay on ball? Possibly. Would I suggest it? No, of course not.
I don't even think the switch from Matt to Clear, I don't even think they really got a handle on how Matt Merck plays ball. Like I don't think they were able to dissect it and be like, this is how we counter it. So even if you do the Clear swap, I don't think it would produce a lot of results.
Okay, so they got one full sub-map rotation though with Matt on tank. So theoretically speaking, they can start to pick it out, and they can use up their full 5 minutes here between maps to discuss it and think it over. Perhaps they have an observer in the lobby, a coach who is in their ear, now at this point being like, look, this is what I was noticing, this is where we're falling apart, fix it. And then they're going to be able to get their server choice, which is good. B, they're going to be able to get their map choice. And C, now they have their coach giving them that information. Perchance we don't want to risk them actually being able to bring this one back into the favor and tie it up to a side and force it to a best-of-3 series. So you swap Clear in so that there is no very obvious, this is the weak point of this tank.
Yeah, true. Do you recommend any other swaps besides the tank roll?
Not really. If we swap, okay, so the thing is, if we swap Matt Merck off of tank, he's going DPS, and that pulls Kel out of the game. And as Kel played tank previously, I absolutely adore being able to see a tank player swap over to DPS. And I mean, no offense to Matt Merck, but I want Kel to continue to play.
Yeah. That's a fair.
And before we go into the next map, we actually are going to take a quick break just to make sure that the lobby is fair for both sides. So don't go anywhere. Back here in just a few minutes with some more Overwatch 2 action.
You take really strong players from disparate communities and you put them together on teams with expert coaching.
So you mean to tell me by all the hands in the room, everybody in here is that top 2%?
It's ultimate, it's a 1v1, and Prestige does it!
not every day that you're a kid like me and you get to have this experience.
Something, he gets one.
This boot camp is really about finding out every weakness.
There's no such thing as a big mistake at this level.
I have people in the crowd there cheering my name on. I have to give them a show.
That feeling of just being up on stage and having a whole crowd of people, it's unbeatable.
1v1, but oh, why would you pick him?
I love this. I want to do this every day.
Another hit!
You didn't make a choice, so you were just looking at things.
If you want to go pro, sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
Jump up and down, you're a crowd, you're casters. It's a transformational experience.
That was a light switch, and now I see what it's all about.
A lot of players here right now are caught up in winning their tournaments 5-10 years down the road. They're not going to remember who won.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
Welcome back to this week's broadcast of the Boise State Esports program, coming to you live from the Boise State Esports Arena. This is going to be our NECC game for Overwatch 2 between the Broncos and Guam. Broncos did take away the first map on Nepal in a 2-0 sweep. Next map choice is going to go in favor of Guam, as well as a server change for them, which we discussed before we went to commercial break, but we'll have to see if that server change is enough to help them overcome the defensive wall that is the Broncos. Now, based off what you saw in the first map, do you have any words of advice that you would give to Guam?
To Guam or Boise State?
To Guam.
To Guam? It feels like now Boise State sort of putting them in a pincer move position where it's like, hey, here's a really annoying tank in front of your face. Here's also a really annoying pharmacy in the air. Honestly, the best advice I can probably give them right now from my level of gameplay is just, I feel like dive's not the move, but try something until it works.
Well, we'll have to see if they make a composition swap going into map number 2. Never mind. I asked for your advice. I can now ask for advice from someone who might have a little bit more game knowledge than both of us combined in the form of Doc. But it looks like the next map is actually going to be Periso. This might play a little bit more into helping them overcome what the Broncos threw at them in the last match. However, the issue does come with the straightaway after you cap point, because this is hybrid. You have to cap point and then push the payload all the way in. That second area, that long straightaway around the apartment buildings, really favors a wrecking ball, and it looks like the Broncos are starting on defense, I believe. They've got a Widowmaker, Zenyatta, wrecking ball, Sojourn. That looks like something the Broncos would pull out with Akinigo, who is very, very far forward.
I saw the ball, and I knew I'm guessing it's going to be.
Yep. Oh, Chosen's taking a nap.
I reckon the pick on the Sojourn as well.
We have Plato actually swapping over to the support. Goblin still on that Widowmaker, and Clear is going to be on DPS this game as well, as opposed to being on tank. So I did mention a Clear swap, but I didn't anticipate Clear coming in on deeps.
Yeah. And they already had an issue sort of dealing with the damage output that Boise State was putting on them, and now they have to deal with Clear on this order run, so it's going to be...
Plato, what are you doing? Plato!
Taking a nap!
Plato! The fight is over there. What are you doing? Are you just long-range DPS Kiriko right now? I don't understand.
I don't ever expect it. Oh.
I think I heard him say, quote, "I'm pulling attention, guys."
I'm pulling attention. Oh, there's sleep. The coordinate that could do a lot of DPS, but not before Clearing Goblin are quickly gonna just eliminate any chance they have of that. Ooh.
Reaper with no Wraith, point blank range. Clear goes down. That's an aim check right there for Clear if I've ever seen one.
Sets check.
Plato, who is still over here on beach, gets punished. Capstone, who swapped off tank and went over to the DPS role, picking up 2 of the Broncos. Goblin trying to duel, does find the Widow's head first, is able to pop in for sights. Gonna get him some intel. I hear someone giving another DPS player crud for whiffing it on the 1v1 with the Reaper, which, yes, you should be getting crud for that, because that was terrible. We've chosen just pelting damage down. Zenyatta about to take a rock at a 2-clip. They do manage to survive because their Kiriko was right there. Clear now in the backlines already, distracting the Reaper. Could give the opportunity for some of the players, the Broncos, to come forward. We have Kiriko, Plato, the DPS player on support, DPSing. Whiffs it to touch point, manages to get one, tries to get the Mercy, uses a lot of util, finds the Mercy, but now uses Kitsune Rush right in front and is punished for it.
They cap point, so, and there goes Clear taking down. I do want to mention, Chosen has not died yet. Was last live, good body shot pick.
I think Chosen has died.
I think, yeah, it did die, but when Chosen should have died, Chosen did not die. That's what I'm trying to say. Words are tricky.
You are giving way too much credit to Chosen right now.
Yeah, it's not really, I'm not really giving credit, but I'm just like, more like.
And we have Matt Murray popping it out on the JQ now, tired of trying to play the wrecking ball. It's okay. Chosen dies.
Well, great. All the
punished
credit,
for the bad positioning on the low ground. This Mercy is also going to get punished. Matt Merck getting 2, Goblin getting 1. Knife gets eaten because we throw it right into the kinetic grasp for some reason.
Where'd all the health go?
Well, what health?
Yeah, what health?
Well, there you go.
That disappeared in a second. I'm just, more or less a diss.
Okay, we've got Nano, Lift, Sights, and Valkyrie online for Guam. If they don't pop all them all at once, they definitely have an opportunity to bring this back in their favor. If they pop them all at once, Chosen's just going to hit trance. We're going to have Yell from Matt Merck and then a Suzu from Plato, and that'll counter everything with only 1 ultimate in exchange for 4. Caps 2 is going to go down to a Chosen volley shot. 0 gets dangerously low. Milky is going to res, but gets punished for that res. Soldier 76 jumping around, definitely trying to survive, does go down. Lift from Sigma onto Chosen, who gives a nice wave, pops trance just to say I'm not dying, and doesn't even bother to drop down to heal Clear, because why give up your high ground when there's no one left alive? Now they give it up just to help out Goblin, taking a more aggressive positioning in the upper left-hand corner. Goblin is undeterred here underneath, takes a quick shot. Mercy damage boost, Widowmaker 1v1. It's not a 1v1, that's a 2v1. Don't take it.
You know Goblin's going to take it again, though.
Oh, yes, of course.
Also, Plato's in the other side of the team.
Again? Nah, we're going to say this is them cutting him off.
Solid. I like it. Perspective. It's all about perspective.
Yes. Someone's going to get punished.
Oh.
And it was Caps 2 who got punished. I really thought it was going to be either Chosen or Goblin who got punished, but I was wrong.
Scom Squad is just not able to make it out of spawn.
What are you doing?
Funny. Oh.
Whip on the grapple. Clear running back to get a mega pack is pulling attention, as we heard earlier. We have a Winston swap now. As long as this Winston is able to engage without instantaneously needing to drop bubble, they should theoretically be able to gain space. The issue is if we see a Winston that uses 2 abilities at the same time, that is a go button for the Broncos, and we have Matt Merck, who is still here at the spawn. Caps 2 just sitting there trying to take the duel between them and Goblin. Kiriko is also taking damage from the Broncos. Zenyatta is getting chased around by this Winston. Widowmaker is going to take the bold position in front of both DPS. They pop the Kitsune Rush in a corner. Just to ego that poor Widowmaker.
And they still only have 3 people on the point. Almost half the team completely gone.
Milky has yet to pop Valkyrie. Axe is going to be glimpsed. Valkyrie in response. Yell used for Matt Merck. They're dwindling down on health. Back to 503. Supports are alive and well. Matt Merck going around the corner looking to get this Winston. Can he land a knife? He will not be able to. They might be able to snag the Soldier 76. This is the one problem with having a Zenyatta. I mean, Chosen, yes, used to be like the god of the Zenyatta players, but without Lucio speed, because we've got Plato and Kiriko as opposed to Lucio, you can't chase.
Ooh. DPS. Seem pretty high. They still have no ground to gain. They have not dealt with really any of the supports that are DPSing at all. Okay,
Milky,
just to say that.
I mean this in the kindest way possible. Stop jumping. You need to understand, for anyone that is new or plays Overwatch and is struggling with, you know, taking 1v1s, jumping is the worst thing you could possibly do, just back and forth, because it is a predetermined arc that your character is going to take, and anyone worth their salt that is good at playing DPS, which Plato is, they know that arc for each hero. Yeah.
How are you not gonna?
I wasn't gonna highlight what Goblin was doing because this is Goblin being Goblin.
Yeah. And then you being forced to stay on point because of OT is just tragic. They didn't even get to. I mean, they got cap, so they get a point. But they didn't even get the second, so.
Milky did pick up 2, nading Chosen and then getting 1 tap onto someone else. However, they do, unfortunately, not recognize that Widow sights were up and stayed out and in line of sight of the poor Widow. You gotta make sure you ping that and just take a. Could have retreated into this green building over here and avoided it, or gotten right underneath them and stayed there, because you can't exactly shoot directly down super easily from that building. With that being said, we're going to go into the next half. Guam got first cap, but they did not manage to get to the second point. With that being said, Broncos still have a task in front of them. We'll have to see how it shakes out for them.
I feel like them just walking down the middle of the street was sort of just like a panic thing, because it was OT, their tank was on point, no support there. I feel like it was more just like a panic, like attempting to run, but you do highlight that there's so many other ways to get around it, and not a lot of heads-up gaming. We heard the Widowmaker ult. Let's not peek in the open.
And if you are struggling to hear ults in-game, I implore you to turn on subtitles for important gameplay. And it'll say it in French. Well, it'll say, I have you in my sights, or whatever the Nuggets of voice line is, with little asterisks of in French, so that it tells you it's the enemy ultimate. I love it.
That's a great little tidbit of knowledge. I love that. Was that a swap to get rid of the cooldown?
No. So we had Clear try to take like a cheeky grapple shot, and then they did swap, but I think they decided to swap back because the Broncos were able to gain a bunch of space. But you could be right. It could have been a swap for the cooldown, in which case, why, brother? My brother in Christ, it was unnecessary. You don't need to do that.
I feel like the swap to the pig is the ultimate ego.
Pig got nerfed into the ground.
That's why. I feel like it's the ultimate ego, because pig is not good right now.
Nah, the ultimate ego pick here from the Broncos would be if someone went Genji.
Don't you dare. May have given them inspiration.
Chosen is chilling out, capping the point on the Brigitte pick. I know some people are happy about the Brig changes. I'm interested to see how they make things different. Am I going to hard locker in ladder? Probably not, unless I'm tilted off my rocker. In which case, it was probably because someone said something super toxic, and everyone dogpiled on me. So I'm like, okay, I go Brig.
Yeah. It's a little fun to do that time. You'll pay for the ego.
Got Dragons online for Goblin. Chosen very close to that rally. Are we gonna Dragon to cut them off and then go in with the raid boss mode? Yeah,
there
we have Dragons online. Hook the Bastion, but that's just gonna cut people off. So they're all siphoned into one area. The Broncos can now push forward into them. Orisa Gold is used. There is Terra Surge. Not going to pick anybody up. The hook is a whiff because the Fortify was just, like frame perfect still there. Spear spin used. Probably a spear here in about 2 seconds. There it is. Realizing the Zenyatta's right there, they take them down. Hook the Bassi from almost across the entire checkpoint. Caps 2 goes down, and Broncos haven't been pushing the payload.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I took a look back and...
There we go. Thank you, Plato.
I think that's only because Plato are spawning.
Right.
One of the things of like, I guess, want to win. So I have to push the payload. But even so, down to support as well. The boys say fully confident in their ability to take these fights. With one support, I guess.
I mean,
Hog
Plato
kind of
can
counts
use
as.
Plato can use Swift Step to get there if needed.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Plato's not using Swift Step.
No, why bother?
Exactly.
Plato is taking attention.
Cleanse. Reese trying to. Oh, there's the. Talking about an ego pick inside of Boise.
Wait, did we get the ultimate ego pick? Nah, Caps 2 with Genji. Ah, my friend. Genji was put back in the cave by the devs. This was not the choice of us players. The devs said, okay, he had a 100% pick rate for 2 weeks. Say bye-bye now.
Yeah.
Chosen goes down. Matt Merck gets Milky, but is that going to be enough? Probably not. Matt Merck's probably just going to be a menace for a little bit. Almost full health, just going to wait until he has the ability to use Take a Breather, and then his team should be there. They can engage. We have a Symmetra swap from Goblin. We should be able to see some interesting TPs. Chosen going over to the Lucio. Plato still on that Kiriko, gets dangerously low, heals up. Matt Merck has Whole Hog ready to go. From that Take a Breather, drops down in the middle of Guam and is going to just send them into the Nether Realm. Oh, Genji.
Not a lot of charge, but still able to do a lot of damage to that poor little Genji. And there it is. With the tank going down. That's what I say, take a second map.
One more map to go if they 3-0 sweep, but I'm not saying that is in the cards. The next map is still going to be Guam's choice. We have Zeus's favorite child, aka Clear, coming in. That, just a heads up, Clear had to get 300 kills on JQ in the Battle for Olympus arcade mode to get that title. That's way more Battle for Olympus than I was ever willing to play. Now, as we go into the next pick, it's going to be Hybrid. Again, it's going to be Guam's pick. Perhaps we will be able to see a pick for King's Row. I'm not positive, though.
I would imagine. I don't remember a whole lot of times, and I imagine Guam wants to win, so they'll probably end up going King's Row. I feel like it's just the default.
I mean, when you're desperate.
Yeah, exactly. Which, they're in that desperate spot.
But we're going to give them time to talk it over, figure it out, because we're going to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be back here with more NECC Overwatch 2 in just a few minutes.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
You take really strong players from disparate communities and you put them together on teams with expert coaching.
So you mean to tell me by all the hands in the room, everybody in here is that top 2%?
It's ultimate, it's a 1v1, and Prestige does it!
It's not every day that you're a kid like me and you get to have this experience.
Something, it gets one.
This boot camp is really about finding out every weakness.
There's no such thing as a big mistake at this level.
I have people in the crowd there cheering my name on. I have to give them a show.
That feeling of just being up on stage and having a whole crowd of people, it's unbeatable.
1v1, but... Oh, why would you pick him?
I love this. I want to do this every day.
Another pin!
You didn't make a choice. So you were just looking at things.
If you want to go pro, sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
Jump up and down, you're a crowd, you're casters. It's a transformational experience.
That was a light switch, and now I see what it's all about.
A lot of players here right now are caught up in winning their tournaments 5-10 years down the road. They're not going to remember who won.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Boise State Esports Arena. You are watching our coverage of NECC Collegiate Overwatch. I'm still your host, Artie Rain, joined on desk by Colin Bajunkin. So, first two maps have gone in favor of Guam. If you were Guam, we discussed it earlier, we would suggest going Kings Row. After the break, do you have any counter evidence to pick a different map? Or, we let it sit, the idea of Kings.
No, I think 100% of the way. I think they're still going to go Kings Row. I feel like it's just the default. And I know from watching, there's been a lot of casters on this list especially that have grown a distaste for the amount of times they've seen Kings Row. So, yes, would it be amazing? But it is copium. Yeah.
Like, there is a limited number of maps in this game, and there are very few hybrid maps. With that being said, we might be able to give Guam some advice in the form of Doc's keys to the game for this next map, and maybe they want to take an opportunity to take a look, but I don't know how many of them are actually going to be watching. We might be able to pull those up. They are from Drop-In Gaming, but of course they are going to be, tempo control to win the 1v1s, pick fights in unexpected places, and keep good positioning, and... That's Doc's keys.
That's Doc's keys to the game. He's pretty knowledgeable guy. Yeah.
We also saw some swaps for the Broncos. Do you think they're going to swap again?
Yeah. I think at this point they have a lot of confidence, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Matt Merck on the DPS role again, and probably another Zenyatta.
Oh, apologies. It's Escort, and we're going to Route 66.
Wow. I know. Route 66 pretty normal.
Ramatra.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
There's a Junkrat right there.
Yeah, why not? You're giving me a look right now that it is supposed to signal that I am crazy for supporting the junk pick.
Yes.
Justify why you think I'm crazy.
Just dislike.
You dislike
I
Junk?
understand why Junk is a good character, and I understand why the amount of DPS that Junkrat puts out is so valuable, but just eliminate the character. Simply do not like.
All right, well, it is going to be Caps2 who's actually on Junk. The Broncos, despite not picking the map, actually chose to attack first. That is their common strategy when it comes to the hybrid and push style maps. Caps2 gonna put down a trap that gets immediately destroyed. Clear, forced to use the absorb. Does have the ability to get a full punch in, takes out the Zenyatta. He's gonna go to the high ground, focus Kiko for a little bit, grab the Mega Pack after the swarm gets dropped. use Absorb, full punch opportunity, and Ramatra gets sent to the Shadow Realm.
Hey, there's that Genji pick we're talking about. And it's a Cal on the Genji, too. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. The UI swap.
Yes, it is going to be the Broncos on attack, so it's not Guam. So, yeah. Switch the names on the top, and you got the right ones. Suzu's already forced this as the go button for the Broncos. The spawn door is right there because we have one person on payload. Just based off of everything that's here, think it's Bagel. Yeah, it's Bagel on cart.
Ooh.
No, it's not Bagel on cart. It's someone else. Who's on cart? Who's on Chosen?
Chosen.
Well,
Emoted.
it's about time. It's about time Chosen had to be forced on cart.
Yeah. Have to swap the roles a little bit. Oh, just getting tempoed and Chosen accepting their fate.
I heard someone cry out for John, who is Chosen. Apologies. You suffered the fate of having a Mercy pushing cart. Welcome to Mercy's End.
If I had to guess, that was probably Bagel because they were getting absolutely pushed by the Ramatra.
That's the unfortunate truth of emoting on cart, because if you're in the middle of it, you can't cancel it.
Might get a, ooh. Let's looking for support.
Trying to pick off the squishies, couldn't find anybody. That was a really extended engage. Kel is going unpunished in the back line as we have Ramatra pop the Annihilation ultimate, and Broncos choosing to just stay in it. They do have Zen Transcendence. They pick up both supports, and Tektronic goes down as well, so Rom ult does finally end. That Zen Trance definitely clutched that one up for the Broncos. They were pelting damage down the proper people quickly because you can't really kill a Rom if both supports are still alive, so you have to quickly kill supports, and then you have to quickly kill the Ramatra. It's a tough task for some teams, but not for the Broncos anymore, especially after what they experienced this weekend.
Oh, no. Didn't get the pick I was actually expecting. I get the DPS, though. Ooh. Kiriko's going to come and support. There might be in a tricky situation outside at this point. Nope, but the mobility that Doofus has. Oh, sitting at 15 health and a dream. He's going to get away. Get a little bit of support. Yeah, they're just forcing a fight, honestly, at this point. And Cart's just being moseyed along. There's no issue about it. Oh, Kel's pretty low. Nah, has the Horror Army. There's so many people that are so low. Bagel does go down. Doesn't it switch to Sigma?
And Chosen is still just chilling out on cart, not helping their team. Bagel goes down, probably once again crying for some love from Chosen, who finally hops off cart for a few moments to give a smidgen of love to Kel, realizing that, yeah, people will die and they want this to be the last fight if possible. There's 4 minutes and 30 seconds still on that clock, so quite a fancy enhanced time make for sure. Clear gets out scot-free. Sigma accretion already used. And Kel is at 91% on that Genji blade. Looking for, there it is, Kinetic Grasp, and pops. Opportunity now for Kel to just Dragon Blade in with the blue beam from the Mercy. Waiting for deflex to come online most likely, but that means they have to wait out for another rock. And Bagel, taking a
no.
loses Sentinel. You did not follow Doc's keys to the game.
There's Blade, though. Blade is going to get one. Keep it going.
Get another?
Do a little bit of damage. Oh, nope. Never mind. Goes down.
Kel is going to go to the Shadow Realm as Chosen gets out. Damage boosting Soldier 76, which is Matt Merck. So Clear and Matt are swapping back and forth. You can see them all giggling on stage, having a good time. And the one to the one center right here, that is Chosen on the Mercy. The one to the left is Gil, our ever so present Rocket League player who is here every single day, honing his skills and having a good time. Clear going to drop the Meteor Strike. Does not finish off that Sigma. Mercy. Ooh,
Nobody supported the Mercy.
No, see, this is why you need you can't solo support in this game, and that's why they enforced a 2-2 roll lock for a while.
And Zero being driven to mirror Shadow Realm mobility, had to push back and not able to get a final touch on the cart. That's Boise State pushing all the way to the final point. Getting 3. You think Guam's taking it? How far do you think Guam's taking it?
I think they're going to be able to cap point 1 in OT.
In OT? Okay.
Talking no time left on the clock, able to cap point.
Get to the last, like get into the last point, or they'll only get to first point.
Like they'll get first point in overtime, and then like maybe halfway to the second.
Okay, yeah. I think it's a fair prediction. I think they get first point, and then it ends there. Like, I think they get first point, it gets stalled out for the rest of it. They don't push it anymore. And that's predictions on desk. Do see the Doomfist coming out, so once again, keeping that.
See a Baptiste.
Soldier and Boostia.
A Lucio.
Anything else? That's 4 out of the 5.
A Doomfist.
And Tracer. Tracer, the final DPS.
If the Broncos are going full creative mode, best of luck.
You think? Yeah. I think, yeah. I agree.
5, 4.
It's genuinely, I think from what you can see from the player picture-in-picture cameras that we had, the Broncos having a good old time playing right now, and I think that's when they're probably the most dangerous. Did see that's Toast on the Widowmaker.
Bagel, what was that in more? Bagel on the BAP with Chosen on the Lucio. So we got main support and flex support swapping it up a little bit. Bagel has been grinding a little bit of Baptiste in 1v1s. Chosen is raiding the back lines, playing the Reddit Lucio, as every Lucio currently does. And Milky is going to make it out at the last possible second back into spawn room. Winston jumps in. Tracer has their sight set on this Widowmaker, who's going to stay behind that spawn door. Now they're just going to turn the attention over towards that Mercy. Doomfist jumps in. Touch spawn door challenge accomplished. Get out.
Okay. I was waiting for the sleep dart. I was waiting for it to come out. They are not able to leave spawn. They are stuck. They cannot leave. There are some decent trades coming out here. I think that's 2 Boise State players that went down right there. So they might be able to get a little more ground here, but for the players they took out are the ones that are able to quickly get right back into this fight. So I don't think they'll have much room to breathe.
Well, if you think about it, the players they took out were squishies, and they were some of the fastest squishies in the game.
Yeah.
So you took them out, but you didn't clean up fast enough, and that is the unfortunate truth of the Overwatch experience. We have an anti-nade drop down on Clear, and the Immortality get dropped a little bit too late. That's a whoopsies on the side of Bagel, who's now getting pushed by a nano boost to Winston, and Caps 2 is going to find the last shot onto Bagel. Chosen's going to go take a nap. Damage boosted on get sent to the Shadow Room, Chosen. That's what you deserve.
Tried the last thing pick. Did I get this? Widowmaker's trying to find something on Matt. It's not going to find it. Clear might get a pick on one of the squishies. The sleep dart. Yeah, there it is. Get stuck.
Sleep
get put 2.
Dart
Get put
and
anti.
Sticky. Ooh.
It's tragic.
Chosen's decided to go over to the Brigida. It does force Chosen to not be able to play as stupidly aggressive as he would like to.
Yeah.
No more raiding the back lines, which is great. We can see Kel here on our player camera going into this Widow 1v1, not even choosing to clean up the Venom Mine, and does finally touch it as they take care of that Widow pushing forward. Now there is just the Mercy and the Ana and a celebratory sticky grenade from Kel. I don't believe Kel intended on having the Ana and Mercy both die before Q was hit.
They got it close. The point's right there. If they win one more team fight, they might end up getting this point. They do got a minute to do it. Minute 15, so not completely out of it, but they are at that desperation point. Ultimate is going to be here. Yeah, he's just poor Widowmaker. Ana's probably next. Boise State's just holding Guam.
Guam's got under a minute. Mercy's getting really low. Tracer's trying to finish off Milky. Brigida jumps in. Gonna get some Inspire up. Bagel finds the clip onto the Mercy. There's a Widowmaker somewhere still alive, I believe. Yes, it's Matt Merck's Widowmaker. Winston uses the Primal just to get out there. In one fight territory, they do lose their Hanzo as well. The only person who's close to an ultimate here is going to be Zero, and they have to keep their Ana alive while getting 2 point. Which means Kel has to go down here. The next question is, how do you kill Kel? Mercy, you cannot go for that res or you're going to get stickied. You need to stay in the air. Now the question is, are you going to sticky the Ana as they come out? 18 seconds now remaining. Bagel has a window, most likely going to use it just to be an oppressive force and selfishly from a Baptiste perspective. We get Clear slept. Clear gets low, but doesn't get finished off. Mercy pummeled into the corner. Yep. Meteor Strike going to drop. Someone did get a touch. It was Winston. Is
they
there
didn't
a
get first point.
Don't believe so, and that is going to be all 3 maps? That's all 3 maps, right?
No,
oh no, Hybrid's next.
Yeah.
I'm crazy. Play of the game is going to be Bagel on the Zenyatta. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
what did you do? Okay, this isn't the ROM ultimate counter. This is going to be kicking a Mercy in the face, which is nice.
Think of the assist.
Yeah,
That's
it's
that's 3 assists. And
even Bagel was wondering what was going on, and yeah, that was the 3-0 in favor of the Broncos against the Tritons. So the Boise State is going to be our victors for today. Do you have any suggestions as to who the player of the game is? But before we get to that, the Idaho Army National Guard is a proud sponsor of the Boise State esports program. The Idaho Army National Guard invites you to take your critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering $20,000 in bonuses and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuardGaming. Okay, now back to what I was saying. I got ahead of myself. Player of the game.
Honestly, I was taking a little bit of seconds for it, not only while you're reading, but also just during the game. And honestly, it's escaping me right now. But I guess the default's always clear. I guess on the sword drum, but that was only broken out once.
Mine's the payload.
The payload.
Chosen dancing on the payload. That is it. No other clips. Just that singular moment.
Just that singular moment. Honestly, I think if production made it happen, they'd be amazing.
Bagel had to suffer as Lucio and Cart for so many. Yes, it is. No, it's not Play-Doh. It's the payload.
It's just spelled wrong.
Yeah.
Payload. Just pronounced differently. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'm glad we both are in agreement that the payload should be the player of the game in this instance. But seriously, thank you for everyone being willing to take away, forcing Bagel into playing Payload Monkey. With that being said, the player of the game is brought to you by the Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like helping members achieve financial success. The payload, Play-Doh, is Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. As we prepare to close out, do you have any big takeaways from this?
What an absolute stomping. It felt like Boise State was in the element. They played it. It almost felt like they're forcing Guam to fight on so many different fronts. They can never centralize their efforts. So, that's a big congrats to them, and they're able to absolutely pick apart the enemy Guam team, and they 3-0'd in the result.
You didn't even make it soft. You went right in for the kill shot there. It
happens. We saw it.
I mean, yes, but you didn't. There was no sugarcoating. There was no props. It was just straight in. Y'all got rolled.
Truth hurts.
This man has no sympathy on the casting desk, if you cannot tell. Well, that's it for us here as far as Overwatch goes. We're going to come back with a little bit of NECC Valorant action, but for now, please enjoy these top 5 plays of the game presented to you today by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering $20,000 in bonuses and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuardGaming. From all of us at Boise State, thank you for joining us. We'll be back in probably about a half hour with some Valorant gameplay, so don't go anywhere. Grab some snacks, use the bathroom, wash your hands, maybe touch grass, and we'll see you in a little bit. Damage boosted on, get sent to the shadow room, Chosen. That's what you deserve.
Tried the last thing pick. Didn't I get this? Widowmaker's trying to find something on that. It's not going to find it. Clear might get a pick on one of the squishies. The sleep dart. Yeah, there it is. Get stuck, get put 2, get put anti.
Sticky. Ooh.
It's tragic. Out DPS. The shield and quite frankly probably Matt Mark, but the first attempt to do it didn't work out, but that's why you respawn, you get to try again. Still fighting into spawn point. Guam has not been able to push out of their own spawn. There is Matt going to Annihilation, extreme quickly gonna just eliminate the chance they have of that.
Ooh. Reaper with no wraith, point blank range. Clear goes down. That's an aim check right there for Clear if I've ever seen one.
Sense check.
Play-Doh, who is still over here on beach. Winston jumps in. Tracer has their sight set on this Widowmaker, who's going to stay behind that spawn door. Now they're just going to turn the attention over towards that Mercy. Doomfist jumps in. Touch spawn door challenge accomplished. Get out.
Okay. I was waiting for the sleep dart. I was waiting for it to come out. They are not able to spawn. They are stuck.
You need to understand, for anyone that is new or plays Overwatch and is struggling with, taking 1v1s, jumping is the worst thing you could possibly do, just back and forth, because it is a predetermined arc that your character is going to take, and anyone worth their salt that is good at playing DPS, which Plato is, they know that arc for each hero. Welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena. You are watching our coverage of the NECC Valorant spring season. The Broncos today are going to be taking on UCB, and I'm going to be your host, Artie Rain, joined virtually on desk by the one and only Rich Red. I'm super excited. This is my first opportunity to get to actually cast with you, Rich. But with that being said, our focus, of course, at the end of the day is going to be on our wonderful Broncos as they battle it out on the first map of Fracture. So as we jump into that, do you have any guesses as to what we might see for the first composition rolling out from either of these two teams?
I mean, it could be really anything because I was able to find some information in regards to this, that this is technically a rematch in a sense, but just two different tournaments. So we get to see them face off against one another where it was a hard loss that they were facing off against previously, but now coming into this day, it's an opportunity for them to make some redemption, adjust their plays, and what type of compositional adjustments that they're going to have.
And with that being said, yes, this is a rematch, and we can possibly take a look at how tonight's event is going to shake out for the NECC tournament thus far. Hopefully we do have that card ready to go. If we don't, we'll just jump right into Doc's Keys of the Game, though, for Valorant, which are going to be brought to you today by Drop-In Gaming, which are focus angles and flanks, know your win condition, count cards, call abilities, click heads. Doc's Keys to the Game are presented today by Drop-In Gaming. They are the premier online platform for gamers seeking competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competition journey, sign up at dropingaming.com.
And honestly, these keys are extremely important, especially when we talk about the focus on angles and flanking. What we did get to see last week when there was an opportunity to look at Boise State, there was one of the big focuses on looking for that lurk opportunity, what they can do to put their opponent off guard. And it was Haven that we got to see a little bit more of this, where it was kind of a hit or miss. There was value that was brought on several occasions, but the opponent was able to adapt and understand what this flank was looking like from Boise State. So it was an up and down battle. And going into this, again, that's something I would love to still continue to see develop and grow, and so that they can really use this team to make sure that they can have success with game.
Well, let's see if they actually have grown since their last match. Of course, every match that is a win or a loss is always a learning opportunity, and I know for a fact they've been working very hard to make sure they have this comeback ready to go. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be dropping in onto Fracture for the first game. This is going to be a best-of-3 series going against UCB. Best of luck, Broncos. UCB, I hope you're ready for a sweet taste of revenge from our very own Boise State team.
And Fracture is one of those really, really interesting selections because I feel that there is this just uniqueness to this map versus so many others. And there's a lot that I've talked to that have a little bit of a distaste when it comes to competing against it. So to start on this one specifically, since it is going to be a first to 2 in this best of 3, how that's going to play out. And again, what really sets the stage here. And also this could be a separation in map selection from what we've seen previously, because we have seen a lot of Ascent, a lot of Haven, a lot of those very significant maps like Bind even in the mix. So Fracture is the unique one that I'm curious how it's going to be played out strategically, really from Boise State specifically, since they're looking to try and redeem themselves, but also how their opponent's going to be coming into this one.
We'll have to wait and see as we're still loading in. Teams are still going to be picking their agents, and it does look like we're finally going to be here. It is going to be Breach, Brimstone, Killjoy, as well as Raze, and going to be Neon for the Broncos, whereas British Columbia has decided to go with a Cypher pick, Raze, KO, Breach, and Brimstone as well.
I like this combination that they've got. We've seen a lot of the Breach come in specifically, and it's been very, very useful, especially from J-Bag, where there are these, consistent angles being held. The utility is really well used. It's very understood to try and, compress those engagements to find the most value from it. But with this combination of the Brimstone, I haven't been able to see too much of it as of recently, since it's not really been, I think, it consistently, at least in some of the teams that I've been more so recently conversing about. But I like this this, adaptation that's coming through. Same thing that you're going to have, British Columbia doing the same on the opposing side with those subtle adjustments, being the Cypher specifically to try and utilize that Sentinel, as you do get an early pickup, though, already for Boise State, and a second from Damio.
And there was a flash there from the breach that allowed for that entry from Damio. They're going to rotate here through into spawn. See if they can pick anyone out, trying to rotate from A. Doesn't look like anyone just yet. Are we going to hold this angle? I don't know. We're having the plant down. 3 are rotating now, coming in through arcade as we have a couple people stuck up in tower. Daimyo trying to dip and dive around the Cypher cage as well as the smokes. Is going to pick up one. Skies did find Hemmer, and J-Bag found another. We did lose Aldum, but 1 down for the Broncos. Still a round win for the pistol round in favor of Boise State.
Yeah, very clean, precise. Those 2 early picks came out extremely swift, and once you basically get that type of advantage early, they played up towards that higher position. They made sure that they utilized their smoke and utilities to block any sort of access, and for those that came from that smoke, they found a very rude awakening. As now there's a very healthy buy going into this for against British Columbia.
And it does look like the Broncos decided to go with the standard 2 Phantoms and or Vandals with Stingers or Spectres to buddy up and walk. And we have a slight default push, possibly just trying to take some attention away towards the A site. Now they're all going to be pinching over towards A after dropping some utility over towards B site. Rotating now through Dish is going to be our Brimstone. Early peek, don't find anything just yet.
And I like this pincer maneuver over towards A and seeing how BC is going to be able to counteract against this. Very quick movement up top, getting that double satchel. And there's really nobody here, so this is a great opportunity to gain this post-plant position for Boise State to try and take these angles, as we've talked about as those significant keys to the game.
Rihanna peeking over towards spawn, getting ready to drop some smoke. Cypher did use camera. There's a couple over near ropes. Daimyo trading fire. Paint shells are going to do some damage to Daimyo. They're just chilling out inside that smoke. J-Bag finds one. Aldum finds one. Rihanna found another. And J-Bag finds the last 2. Broncos went out round 2 without even with losing 1 player again, but they should be able to be okay even with their econ, and most likely we were able to pick up the weapon that was dropped.
Yeah, and now we really look to see how UBC is going to be able to counteract this, knowing that they are at the disadvantage, having an opportunity now to go for the decent buy. The most interesting thing about this, too, is you mentioned about the Stinger picks up with the most recent patch change. They did increase the cost of that weaponry, also just the weapon fall-off damage that comes over from that 20 to 15 meters, so they have to be very cognizant of that range that they have, since they've lost a little bit of viability in comparison to some of these other well-rounded weapons like you see the Vandals or the Phantoms.
Broncos now going into their bonus round. I don't think we had any major buys coming out. Still a Spectre for Daimyo. We rotate fully through Dish to drop on A. They take out the tripwire, but there was possibly, that was definitely the camera. We're going to use Blast Pack. Skies gets in on high ground. They've cleared out low, but the spawn, there's a couple peppering damage, and we lose 3-4 Broncos. Skies is the last one standing. They're going to pick up a Phantom and try to either get an exit frag and go down with the ship, or can we possibly see it come back and get all 4 kills here?
We've seen some very immaculate play to have something like that happen, but it's a tall order. Skies looking for the initial pick, but there's a great crossfire coming in. Can't seem to get both in that single peak, and at this point, BCU really managing to understand this type of engagement that comes through now that they have the weaponry to counteract it. They read that quick play before over towards that A position, and now looking to really hold against it. Curious how they're going to spread themselves out going into this next round, since there is, again, this even exchange of economy. They have a really good opportunity to. They also do have at least the neural theft available if they get that early pickup, as they've done before, but we'll see how these ultimates now start to contribute into these strategies that they're using approaching these points.
Breach does also have that Rolling Thunder online. We have a pinch push yet again coming over towards B. There was a suppress, I believe, thrown over towards that back of B site. Aldum gonna decide to drop the lockdown. It's gonna force a lot of rotations quickly out from British Columbia, but the question is, are any going to try and basically brave it and stay inside towers? We have a Molly get dropped to prevent Daimyo from going in.
Gets the chip damage, but still has a lot of obstacles to maneuver around with all 3 smokes active in combination to the lockdown, but a wallbang comes through, so it does still have the advantage here for British Columbia. And there's low health values as well on this breach play. Rounding the corner, Daniel gets one, but there is a quick engagement following to surround the remaining few, as now it's only one once again for Boise State. Rihanna, though, we've seen some miraculous plays before, but this time it's going to get away from them. That will be a defuse here and make it a 2-2 score line.
British Columbia didn't even need to use that Neuro Theft. I think we might have actually popped the Rolling Thunder from the Broncos. We can see here how this last engage went. We did stop the showstopper. However, the exchange fire, the late peak, came in clutch for British Columbia.
And now you can see there's a hesitancy in the buy, wanting to look to follow up on that next one. It's almost like a little bit of a force buy. They've got the light armor, they've got the stingers, couple of sheriffs, so they're wanting to at least invest something into this and need to be very cognizant in how they move as a unit, since they are at a deficit here in regards to their weaponry to compete against British Columbia, who's gotten these back-to-back rounds.
Skies uses both blast packs. He's going to get in. We have smokes going up towards ropes, as well as a prank grenade.
No one yet visible. A lot of shots through the smoke even. Gets one. Very well reading that positioning and where that spray fire is coming from. It secures that there is an opportunity to plant, so they do get into this post-plant position, which Boise State notoriously is very good playing these angles. Great shot with multiple firing range coming out from this sheriff with the wall bang, making it in 4 versus 3, but unfortunately gets taken down from a long range before that weapon upgrade. And that's going to be the end of it.
The retake from British Columbia was just very quick and strong. They got that one pick. Neuro Theft went out, identified where all the Broncos were standing, and picked them off like flies.
Yeah, and again, you were playing at a deficit. It was still very well done, despite them being down. And there was that close opportunity for Aldo to get that weapon upgrade, but did get picked up, as you just saw there in the replay. That would have given some really significant firepower to look for a retaliation in that post-plant, but we're back up. Full weaponry, full buy here, 2 ultimates online. Looking to see how they're going to be able to counteract this as British Columbia takes this next round, or took the previous round.
Aldum got flashed, and Pearson's going to manage to pick them up. Broncos down 1 almost immediately as spawn is over. Rihanna now peeking over towards Arcade, and we have rotations out from Dish. 2 util destroyed for Cypher, so they're definitely aware that at least one Bronco is over near Dish site as they pick up that orb. Possibly a disengage is going to happen. Yes, slow and quiet rotate through spawn.
I like this because it's been something that Boise State's not done in these previous rounds, where they typically go headstrong into the utility that they do find and look to apply pressure through it. Nice read on that Ruriana, knowing that the second that they peek out, they get that elimination. Grabs the second orb. Little vulnerable, but there is some cover fire in the back line to secure that there's nobody going to get picked up. Still the numbers advantage as they work their way under this tunnel.
Daimyo is covering, looking to make sure they get anyone that's looking for a late peek from Heaven on site B, as we have this full rotation going into the Broncos spawn. Daimyo playing the late peek game. I see you.
Wants it. Just waiting for the singular pixel on that window.
Orbital strike into Heaven.
Yeah, the orbital strike is going to deny anybody's positioning. Nobody really actually jumps out, so there's nobody up there. This is a free plant for Boise State, and now they can look to hold these angles with only 2 remaining.
Question is, where is Brimstone and where is the Cypher? Are they just going to save and play for next? There's really no need. Their team's econ is very healthy, to say the least.
Oh, there's some intel. 1-for-1 trade. Will Hemmer be able to get any more? Nope, that's a side angle, collapsing all around. It was a gamble to try and get one more out of this, but Boise State manages to equalize, making it a 3-3 round.
see what the next plan of attack is here for the Broncos. Are they, I think the slow push from last time, playing it smart, waiting for utility usage, taking out util just to get attention and then disengaging was advantageous for them. The question is, are they going to do that again? Or are they going to do what they were doing previously that kind of bit them in the heel?
You do have 2 ultimates to their name. They've got the Rolling Thunder. They also do have the high gear, or overdrive, so that they can utilize that if they want to play a little bit more aggressively. Hesitancy moving in, though. There is a very aggressive play, though, by British Columbia. They're going to move out. This is something that Boise State's not ready for, and a harsh flank comes in. And they don't have the spike either.
That was a 4-man firing squad posting up around from the other site. That was tragic. Aldum does end up finding IDK, the Cypher, but picking up that spike where there's 4 people staring at it is going to be a tough task for Aldum. The question is, can Aldum do it?
Aldum at this point, most likely just going to look and hold back. At this point, also maybe just going to find anyone that's straggling around. And the biggest part of this, too, is I really liked the hesitancy that we did see when it came to Boise State in the previous round. They looked to take their options elsewhere after removing a lot of that utility and that tripwire specifically. But now with British Columbia, it really was something that Boise State wasn't ready for, and I like the play. I have to give them props for being able to try and change it up just as much as Boise State did in that previous round, and it's taken leaps and bounds going into this one, making it extremely challenging. And Aldum at this point is just going to look for the save, holding an angle, and British Columbia can just sit pretty right now. If they feel confident, they have no need to go search this out. They're going to leave one and just be able to hold this and get the advantage in round.
I mean, if you were UBC in this situation, you'd ask, well, why would I bother chasing when I could just completely save myself any trouble? I don't foresee Aldum be able to pick anybody up. We hear fire, but it's going to be pretty far away from where Aldum is standing, unless there is someone slowly creeping up. 1 second left. Yes, this is just going to be an opportunity for Aldum to stay alive.
But there's still a healthy economy. There's a lot of buys you can see coming through here. You do have the Phantom. I believe that's a Vandal as well, coming up with a much-needed utility buy. So there is a good chance to be able to equalize this. And now that they've seen UBC play that aggressive, I guarantee you Boise State is going to be a lot more cognizant in how that lurk and that flank is going to come through, because when you've got 4 individuals rounding the corner like that, when you're just looking to try and maintain the utility, that's something you definitely learn from.
We also did see that our Neon did not buy a weapon. They're planning on popping their ultimate this round. Skies is going to have that showstopper. If KJ can grab an ult orb or get a kill here as well, they will have lockdown.
You see this polar opposite shift now from UBC. They're just going to hold. And Boise State just like, all right, we're going to respect you. And then they're going to also respect each other. And then we're just going to kind of have a stalemate for now. But now the lockdown, as you mentioned, is picked up. They have that for use underneath to get that really clever positioning to maintain. Seen it already once before. Double smokes coming in. There is a Rolling Thunder to attempt a counter here, impressing forward. And Hemmer actually gets one. It denies the overdrive. There's no value brought with this. They get the plant, but it's cost them 2.
KJ did go down. No one was detained inside of KJ's ultimate, which is unfortunate. 3 left standing. It looks like Breach is going to be taking some damage as well, about a half health. Skies finds one. Neurotheft is going to get popped. All the locations for the Broncos are now revealed as there's a Molly sent into heaven. Exchange fire. We do lose one.
Skies?
Get the clutch.
5 HP in a dream.
Yeah!
5 HP in a dream, and it just comes short.
Oh.
Oh, again, it's those micro moments, and a well-rounded attempt as it is now 2 rounds for UBC over Boise State, and it's just so devastating because you knew that you had the save on the buy because you were gonna use the overdrive. You come out, instantly get picked up in the chaos, despite the lockdown being there. Still a few of UBC within it before they leave, and that causes some serious dismay. And actually, they used it. I thought they didn't use the overdrive, but they lost that instantly now in their aggression.
That is tragedy if I've ever seen it. Sky blast packs in, smokes over towards ropes. We're going to throw a paint grenade as well. Might be able to get some chip damage onto the one player that was there. quick engage from the Broncos. They are blitzing onto this point, already used the stim beacon as well. Aldum just going in with the Sheriff, trying to land the shots. Cage gets popped, 2 go through it. Pearson IDK, Pearson. Rihanna finds Pearson, but now it's just Rihanna left standing against the firing squad.
You can see all the red borders in that outline. There's so many, and again, it's at this point Boise State. Now they can come back in again. It's this ebb and flow between the two, and I really like this denial though. The stim was a great opportunity to aggress forward, but unfortunately there was just a lot of that area of effect damage. It was chipping away at the health values. It left a lot of Boise vulnerable, so there was this capitalization from British Columbia. And again, you commented, there's a firing squad. There's 4 there. That means that they all resided in this point, and that was just one of those also really unfortunate turn of events because there was such a mass number of UBC players.
I'm not quite positive where originally UBC was posted up, but it seems like they were definitely drifting more towards that middle spawn area and ready to just immediately rotate back towards the other side as needed. And as soon as they recognized utility was getting popped from the Broncos, they surrounded it and conquered them as quickly as possible. They're no longer playing the hesitancy game, and they're shaking it up enough that the Broncos don't really know how to respond just yet.
There's an attempt to swap sides, and that's what Boise's looking to do. They've taken a couple of rounds to each, and also have been more receptive to playing slightly defensive unless they feel that they've got a really decent buy and a couple of angles with the utility that they're using. Like you mentioned, the stim gives them that access to play aggressive, not really look for that flank. But when you're walking into that type of damage in a very small, refined space, especially when you've got double smokes in there, you just become a sitting duck.
Ooh, Aldum with the entry pick, gonna immediately back off from the engage on Dish. Possibly force someone to go double check if anyone is there.
Fastlane denies a lot of visibility up on that high ground as 3 smokes come out from the Brimstone. Plant comes in, and again, this is a strength of Boise State. Once they enter the post plant and can start holding their position, and they also do have a player advantage here, which makes it even more formidable for them.
They have every angle on lockdown. The only one that's kind of struggling right now is Rihanna. We have the Rolling Thunder get popped from British Columbia for entry. Stuns 1, Yams finds Rihanna.
Couple of shots as well downtown through a long distance, and now the smoke blocks visibility, but Aldum gets 2 through the smoke around the back. J-Bag, can't get the outplay, attempts their best at this, but that will be, actually, are they going to get it in time?
I think there's time.
They should be able to with the timing. Yeah, there will be enough time for them to
just at the,
but,
nick of it.
Yeah, worthy attempt here. 0.69 worth on the bank. Hey, every millisecond counts here.
Most definitely. Aldum, though, with that 2 trade, it was just unfortunate utility here. We dropped a lot towards the spawn, identifying that there was someone coming, but the crosshair placement was not in our favor.
Partial armament with a stinger coming out from Mariana, being the one to save that 2,200 currency, looking for that next round. Curious to see how they're going to play this again, and if Aldum's going to get that same single pick once again out the get-go. This is interesting, though, how they're going to keep Rihanna that far away from the rest of the squad, not even looking to try and push up for a flank.
Ooh.
Nice shot. This is some good crowd control for the moment, but again, Boise State right back in as they've done clockwork-wise, and now they just have to hold the angles and make sure that they stick this spike.
Showstopper gets popped. It's going to find Daimyo at point-blank range.
Oh, there's a great corner hold, though, by Skies. What a trade, but now again, it's back to 1. Aldum.
They're on spike, they're on spike.
Remains.
They're on spike.
They've got to take this peek. They swing, no, and they don't get the takedown onto it. Boise State falls short.
Wait,
And
is the detain gonna help? Nah.
Well, okay,
got it halfway.
Yeah, again, worthy attempt though by Boise State. It's just these interesting trades. There's 2 that come out with the showstopper first, plus a follow-up. But this great angle being held, as you can see, instantly after that shot, equalizes for the moment. They get 2 of their own, and of course you have that massive sound with that door opening, but whoo, this is getting real close, despite it starting to pull in favor of UBC right now.
Broncos are just missing like one tiny piece right now. They cannot find the chink in the armor just yet for British Columbia. Taking a slightly different approach again. We're gonna make some noise over towards B main. Smokes have been dropped over towards A main. Boombot's going to meet each other, definitely identifying that the Bronco, at least one Bronco is there.
One for one trade. So now how are they going to play the field with this reduction in offensive power? Looking to focus onto this B region, as Aldum now looks to try and flank and coordinate with Ruriana moving forward. No one just yet.
No. UCB has played very patiently and is aware of their skill on retake, and they just let the Broncos drop a lot of util too. A Molly gets popped out from heaven. They're aware of where this KO's at.
Massive suppression. Gonna secure that they get that elimination, finalize it. No prayers and hopes remaining for iNoob to get back online, but that's gonna cause some problems. Hammer gets one out of J-Bag. Nice angle held. Damio now gonna look for the wall to block some of the fire, but it still works its way through the box. Aldum up top gets the pickup. Now it's 1 left again.
Aldum maybe looking to play time here. We hear a lot of footsteps. The Molly's going to be there to block.
The ricochet onto the Nano. Attempts to go for the fire. Swings the corner. Activates it. They're just out of range, and Hemmer once again finds it in the chaos. Oh.
Switching sides.
These 1v1s at the ends are just UCB gets it swinging in their favor somehow.
It's tough. And now we're going to look to try and take a swap of sides. Again, 3 rounds is better than no rounds when you're playing on the offense, because Fracture is a very interesting dynamic and understanding. There is a massive strategy playbook difference when we talk in comparison to some coaches and what their insight is about this map, and looking how they can play underneath this middle segment and how they coordinate between one another. It's really critical for Boise State to get this initial pistol round to take the advantage as they had before, especially because they're at the deficit right now. So we'll see how UBC is going to come out and where they're going to look to focus first.
This guy's waiting to see just a couple of pixels of someone. Util dropped on dish. Rihanna gonna drop smoke. Question is, UCB, are you bold enough to push through it? The answer's probably no, and that is the right one.
Just holding the line, waiting for UBC to make the first move. And hopefully they will walk into the Lion's Den. There is a rush tactic over towards B. It gets a great pickup, though, IDK, specifically with 2 on the Ghost. And now Rihanna drops the smoke to give some coverage as they try and push out and counteract against 5.
J-Bag's playing it patiently, walking through the smoke.
Goes to the Tremor. Cypher's Cage makes this even more challenging. Everything's been funneled into this, but the second it drops, it's now what a shot coming out from J-Bag. Unfortunately, can't. Okay. Oh! J-Bag was close. And we've seen this before. I really admire the gun round when it comes to J-Bag's play, because there is a lot of value found, especially at that mid to long range fire when we talk about some of the damage drop off or the accuracy necessary to get those shots. So have to commend them for the work, at least, that they were able to put into this, but that's going to be a victory in this first round swap, where now UBC has the advantage. Boise State has to play, again, very defensively to see how they're going to go into this. They're actually going to go for a force buy here to make sure that they do have all of these stingers and and at least some light armor and want to try and battle back against a very formidable economy from UBC.
I wonder if Rihanna's going to make the same choice of chronically making noise and peeking an angle. I think that gave UCB the intel they needed to know that at least one person was chilling out over A, specifically watching Dish, and so they just hard rotated and full engaged, knowing they'd be up one person because of Rihanna just repeatedly making that noise in front of them.
JBag also sticking close to the door just because that audio cue is so significant if they wanted to use that to their advantage. Though there is some denial from Vision here. J-Bag walking through, so they have awareness that there's multiple players towards that position. Damio gets low, 10 HP, walking into the open arms, unfortunately of 2. But British Columbia actually losing some of themselves with that combination of J-Bag play on the other side, and Oldham gets another one as they take the road.
One left standing. The question is, where is this Brimstone? Can they find them? I believe they were down towards B main. Nope, they were in spawn. J-Bag is going to pick them up after Skies goes down.
This is a really nice recovery. When you're finding yourself at the deficit, you need to try and have a statement moment where you start getting potentially some of those weaponry upgrades. There is at least something that you can bring into this one, managing to not let this get away from them since we are entering that realm of double digits for UBC for this first round. Again, there is still a second map that is on the board if this does not go in favor of Boise State, but they really want to try and make this one a lot more close and also see if they can attempt a massive reverse in this and try and take this first map.
Boombot, clear out back of Dish.
There.
Oh, we have 2 pushing forward. They're going to immediately back off. We have exchange fire and B main.
Now, the great denial and vision with the fast lane fades. Again, very slow and methodical play from UBC. They're not wanting to over-aggress into this because even at the disadvantage in the previous round, Boise State was able to come out on top defensively, playing this much more effectively than what we had on the offense. Damio just going to keep holding that corner. Just constant bob and weave to get that initial clip.
When you think there's no one there, hold it a little bit longer.
Right. 35 seconds. They're going to have to make a move now.
And it looks like the move is going towards B site.
Ooh, nice swivel to deny. Gets one, almost the second. Even some chip damage. So that's worth more than what you could have expected. Oh no! IDK on the inside, able to get the damage as Damio aggressed forward. J-Bag now holding near box, but there is some denial in sights. What a shot through the cage! And gets a second following up by Ruriana. Attempted to go for the defuse, can't quite find a clean opportunity. Up top, though, Skies gives the assistance into the stim. They're going for it. Only seconds left. Can't get the trade! 15 HP. Goes out, long-range shots and finds it! Ririana has been able to do this before. We've seen it on Haven specifically on multiple occasions last week and pulls it out here on Fracture and is able to get that beautifully done by Boise State on this defensive Fracture.
Though Rihanna did go pick up the Phantom, I've wanted to say this for a long time. That was some Guardian gaming, and it made me very happy to see.
And again, that's key. That moment right there where you get that chip damage plus the elimination and don't get a full blind is so critical. And it's those micro plays in the long run that bring so much more value to this. And again, just that stellar shot with the Guardian. You always know that you're having to play a lot differently when you have that type of weapon and your shot has to land. And it for sure as heck did and allowed them to take that, as now they are only 5 rounds deficit on this defensive side.
Ooh, showstopper!
Unfortunately, takes out one of your allies.
Oh, I didn't notice.
It's okay. Well, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that's a look across your computer and say, yo, I was right there.
Spike
Oh, that was a very fast spike plant that we saw from UCB. We haven't seen that from them before. Typically, slow and methodical. They sometimes change it up just to mess with the Broncos. Aldum almost flicked away, came right back, found Yams. They take the tripwire out, trying to get some wall bangs. Molly gets dropped from the KO. It's a 3v2.
Ricochet off the wall up top, so that gives them some safety for now. Oh, this is going to be so devastating, though the time is continuing to reduce. 3 versus 2. Boise knows that they're just going to keep the weaponry. They're not going to risk this. They're going to allow this to go. But now when we look at this in a bigger picture, it's 11-5. If there is at least a solid remaining buy from Boise State, they're going to get one last decent attempt here in this next round, and that's why they have to fall back at this. They cannot risk it, because if they lose in that, they go down economically, then they come back into their final round hopeful. Here they're looking to try and gain one additional round, and we're actually even going to have a tactical pause right now to make sure that they can get this communication and see what they can do in these final stages to see if they can redeem this. And there's that highlight play, unfortunately, where you just see Damio like, yo, like, go a little bit further to the left. Like, don't hit me.
Give me some warning next time,
Give
please.
me some room.
I was as soon as we hit the timeout, I was like, I wonder what moment they're gonna pick, and then I see it, that it's just a peeking from heaven. I was like, oh no, oh, this is it. Bye, Damio.
You know, I'm not gonna be too mad about it, because I would be the player with the showstopper that kills my ally, unfortunately. So we even close camped that one. We wanted to get the full effect on this part of letting me just speak out about my bad Raze play. So we'll let that sink in for those at home. Yeah, and yeah, because I'm a Valorant god. Yes, I get 2. Whether or not you look at the real stats in the kill feed, I still got 2.
And you lived. That's the important part.
Yep. I digress. As now we look to this next round, 11-5. This is the best opportunity that they can work with right now, having a 2-player save, and they are aggressing forward. Double satchel, nobody there either. Oh, what actually a great pickup since IDK stayed remaining.
IDK was the only one there, so that means everyone else was over towards the opposite side across those ropes, or they got onto site without making any noise, which is borderline impossible considering how loud some of these doors are. We're going to rotate them towards spawn. Spike is starting to be planted. We are down 1 on the side of the Broncos, so equal side power. We hear the showstopper come out from British Columbia. It does not pick anybody up. We do also have KO pop their ultimate, forcing the Broncos to run back. Boombot's going to sweep through inside a defender's spawn. We have Yams pick up Aldum. Pearson's going to pick up Daimio. Broncos are 2-man left standing. Another suppress, another Molly.
Oh man, I really, really loved the strategy of playing that aggressive, but this is the challenge of this map, because you had so much of the Killjoy's utility over towards A, and you're only holding one side, denying the opposing side to Satellite. But in regards now to where you aggress, there's still 2 other 50-50 chances that they're not going to be there, and that's what they lost out on. They only get IDK, and everyone else is on the reverse side of the map, playing on the opposite side of your control. It's just so rough.
They lost the coin flip on that one.
Yeah.
Skies slowly peeking after dropping Boombot. Util is going to be dropped over towards the A site. So we have Brimstone rotating up towards ropes. Raze is going through attacker's spawn. So we have Aldum just peppering some smoke over towards Dish, trying to make sure there's no one coming in. Spike is starting to be planted.
Spike planted.
It's do or die, and unfortunately, that's a nice recovery, though, at least.
They planted it wide open.
Orbital strike, making this very challenging position to enter into, and Hem is ready for it. Flash onto one more. J-Bags goes down. It's all onto Skies. 1 versus 2 before this round is over.
Oh no!
Oh, the Hellfire rains from above, and it's just clipping the pinky toe. And that is going to be, unfortunately, a loss here for this first map.
Well, the Broncos still have another map, and for those of you watching, we want to give a shout out to the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering $20,000 in bonuses and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuardGaming. So, Rich Rad, if you were one of these players, what would you say to your teammate other than, hey, don't kill me with a showstopper?
Can I, like, reduce my hitbox a tiny bit more? No, I'm just kidding. But when it comes to, you know, going into this, I really did like this ebb and flow between the strategy, this combination of aggressive, a little bit more passive. One of the challenging thing is I think this map contributed a lot to how this turned out, especially with some of the strategies that Boise State brought towards the later portion of it, even at the disadvantages. Their defensive holds early in that swap was extremely dominant. They had a lot of really great angles. They found some significant trades. Mariana was a big focus. J-Bag, same thing when it came to some pistol play. But now going into this next map, I think that's where it's going to maybe be a little bit more of an opportunity. Change of the composition, see what type of alternative agents that you can bring to the table that might be more formidable here to counteract against your opponent now that you've been able to see them for another time. And again, even though the score seemed more heavily towards their opponent, there were still a lot of very, very close rounds, even at a deficit.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I think the one thing that UCB did that allowed them to kind of throw the Bronco squad a little off kilt was really managing their tempo and just changing up between, are we going to quickly egress onto a site? Are we going to stall out and wait for our util to get burned and them to burn their own? And then they would also wait for the Broncos when they were on defense to throw out a bunch of util to play denial, and then they would just either then start to surround them and slowly rotate in and pinch them off, or they completely wrap around to a different site. So I think playing the mind games a little bit more might be in the favor of the Broncos, but I, at the end of the day, only get to be a talking head who's here on desk.
And we just have to observe the great plays, such as, you know, self-killing showstoppers and pixelated, you know, brimstone ults. But, you know, I agree with you. At the end of the day, we get to see and how Boise State's going to be able to counteract against us. It's going to be a challenge for sure, since at least, you know, we already know that they had faced them off earlier last week and now attempting to do so again here today for this NECC. And can't wait to see what this next map's going to hold for us.
Well, before we jump into that next map, we're actually going to go to a quick break, and I am going to be leaving the desk. It's been a pleasure to cast with you, Rich Rad. You'll be joined by Colin going into the next map. Hopefully the Broncos are able to swing this one back in their favor, but for now, we'll be back in a few minutes with more Valorant action, so don't go anywhere.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
You take really strong players from disparate communities and you put them together on teams with expert coaching.
So you mean to tell me by all the hands in the room, everybody in here is that top 2%?
It's ultimate, it's a 1v1, and proceeds to the last moment!
It's not every day that you're a kid like me and you get to have this experience.
Something, he gets one.
This boot camp is really about finding out every weakness.
There's no such thing as a big mistake at this level.
I have have people in the crowd there cheering my name on. I have to give them a show.
That feeling of just being up on stage and having a whole crowd of people, it's unbeatable.
1v1, but... Oh, why would you pick him?
I love this. I want to do this every day.
You didn't make a choice. So you were just looking at things.
If you want to go pro, sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
Jump up and down, you're a crowd, you're casters. It's a transformational experience.
That was a light switch, and now I see what it's all about.
A lot of players here right now are caught up in winning their tournaments 5-10 years down the road. They're not going to remember who won.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
You take really strong players from disparate communities and you put them together on teams with expert coaching.
So you mean to tell me by all the hands in the room, everybody in here is that top 2%?
It's ultimate, it's a 1v1, and Prestige does it! The last moment!
It's not every day that you're a kid like me and you get to have this experience.
Something, he gets one.
This boot camp is really about finding out every weakness.
There's no such thing as a big mistake at this level.
I have people in the crowd there cheering my name on. I have to give them a show.
That feeling of just being up on stage and having a whole crowd of people, it's unbeatable.
1v1, but... Oh, why would you pick him?
I love this. I want to do this every day.
Another hit!
You didn't make a choice. So you were just looking at things.
If you want to go pro, sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
Jump up and down, you're a crowd, you're casters. It's a transformational experience.
That was a light switch, and now I see what it's all about.
A lot of players here right now are caught up in winning their tournaments 5-10 years down the road. They're not going to remember who won.
Hello, welcome back to the Boise Esports Arena. You're watching our coverage of NECC Valorant Spring of the 2023 season. Over 70 teams are competing across 11 divisions and looking to advance to the bracketed national finals. Boise State is currently in the West Division, looking to pick up a win into tonight's match against British Columbia. We're into the game 2, and just as mentioned before, we had a little bit of a caster switch that we had on. I am Colin McJunkin, and joining me today is the one and only Rich Rad. And kind of summing up that last game that we had, I know we talked a little bit of the key points going on, but we had a little bit of time to sit. We talked about them being aggressive. We talked about them being a little more passive. Going to game 2, what do you think are some essential strategies that Boise State needs to kind of come back to the drawing board with and reevaluate the overall performance they had and what they can take away and hopefully adapt to game 2?
Some of the things outside of the details that we discussed before going on at the break and taking a little bit of a swap, I know that the focus was, this ebb and flow and understanding of aggression, a little bit more passive. There was some moments that were very important for Boise State to be able to take this back, also along with some of their gun trades as well. But going into this next specific map, whichever it's going to be, which we'll have confirmation soon, I'd really like to see a little bit more of assistance when it comes to, I think, some of the trading. There are a couple of moments where either like a swing is a little bit mistimed, or if they're swinging out, they're finding themselves in line with another. There's not really a staggering, which if they are going to look for a trade, they're not finding themselves unfavorable of either getting a double elimination on the opponent's side or finding themselves getting a lot of chip damage, which then in the long run is a lot more casual for them. And having those casualties make it really more challenging, especially on a map like Fracture, which we talked about, on multiple occasions. It's a very unique map compared to many others, like we've typically seen with Haven and Bind and an assortment of others. I mean, even in some respects, when it comes to like Icebox, like all those different ones, there's a lot more maintenance and control when it comes to those different angles that you can take, whereas Fracture is just a different entirely. But ultimately, those are the kind of things that I would like to see going into this next map, specifically from Boise State.
Fracture can definitely be described as unique. I 100% agree with that, but hopefully with a little bit of advice from Doc and our keys to the game in Valorant, they can hopefully succeed in this next upcoming match. Which in Valorant, focus your angles, flank, know your win condition, count your cards, call your abilities, and obviously the easiest of them all is to click heads. And I definitely do agree with you that the sort of swings with Fracture can be sort of unique, and I really do like that word, honestly, Rich, that Fracture's a unique map. I know it's not the most beloved map in all the competitive rotation, but I did catch a little bit of it, and it seemed like economy-wide in getting our value trade, the Stinger, which is getting nerfed soon. It's still such a power weapon, and I believe the next map, actually, I'm 100% sure the next map is going to be Haven. So that's a little bit more control, and I know it's a map that Boise State Esports, with our Valorant team's way more comfortable on, and I've seen them succeed at a much higher level here. And the curious thing that I'm entering on is the Neon going to be a pick again, right? Because I think the Neon, the Fracture was really vital, and honestly, it gives you a level of dynamic that I don't think we see a lot, especially in the meta that we're playing in right now. And I feel like Neon is very utilized on Fracture. We've seen previous pro teams use it all again. Oh, wow. We're actually not going to see that at all. Almost a mirrored comp, just a little bit. Switching out the Sentinels, though.
Yeah, information gathering with the Sky as well. And this is something that we did get to see last week, though, when it came to Boise State, and they really did utilize it to their advantage. Omen as well by Damio throwing this into the mix, having, a lot of opportunity with the Paranoia, with the Shadow Step. But all of them, again, for the Sky play, I personally really like it. The Trailblazer has gained and gathered a lot of information historically for Boise State and really gives them a heads-up play on their opponent, and even having that sustainability and healing for, like, what we talked about, those trades that aren't going favorable. If you're taking some of that chip damage, you can regain your composure, generate that health back in, so you're at least have a higher likelihood of going for a second round.
Especially in these early rounds as well. In this first push round and second round as well, I feel Sky's healing ability is really not really underrated, but it's overlooked as sort of how important it is, because pistols don't do as much damage, and unless they have a sheriff or they're going to 2-dink you with the Ghost, having that full 100 HP with nobody else having armor more than likely is really important.
You can see the Trailblazer now active, peeking all corners rapidly. Does get flashed for the moment, so they do have an understanding that one is there. IDK gets an elimination on Disguise, but the plant comes through. Boise State guaranteeing that they get themselves once again into this post-plant position, which is something they do play very well.
Having Daimyo play this close, could describe it a little bit as an off angle. This is most definitely off. Disguise. Ooh, the Jet does get through, gets one. A little bit of trades going back and forth, down on the numbers. Rebounding. Oh, it gets the dink, but just can't quite close it off.
That was just like microseconds worth of a massive swap and advantage. The dash came in just in time to elude the fire, looking to try and get the chase onto it. Holds this angle, but unfortunately that sidestep out towards box gives a little bit more coverage for the Sova. Can't quite land the shots again. One of those, you know, one of the 4 from Doc, you know, click heads. At that point, we will say that that one needed a little bit more work, but it's okay. There's many more rounds ahead of us to correct that. And at this point now, you've got UBC having the advantage. The Stingers are now going to come out once again since they are bumped up to that 1,100 credits. So curious to see, since there's not going to really be any light armor as well because they're putting in that currency specifically for the weaponry and 2 frenzies to come out to boot.
Choosing the economy and who gets that? Who has a Stinger? Who doesn't have a Stinger? Who's taking that frenzy? Definitely going for it very aggressive. They know they're down in terms of number, or not really numbers, but more weapon-wise. Ooh, Ottoman's going to get absolute chip damage off through that smoke, down to 30 HP. The unfortunate part is Ottoman can't heal themselves.
It's a very difficult position to do so. Nice flank around box, though, to make sure that they can get that angle. But this is where IDK comes in and just melts multiple members. And again, it's one of those things where you can't say anything negative to how Boise State played that because they had to play to the strength they had, which is, you know, the weaponry that they at this point have. They looked for a regain onto that weapon upgrade, but IDK comes in with a very massive play onto 3. Boise State had the early advantage, but then the weaponry really just makes that significant difference.
And forcing that Phantom as well, too, and getting this 3-piece is so important. And they don't lose it at all, either. They get this Phantom back, and, you know, I imagine IDK is doing really well with it right now, so probably going to get that back as well. And sort of playing that hero rifle position really worked out for them as well, especially from the character I wouldn't expect it from the Cypher. So, and that jet dash really opened it up for IDK as well. You see that pick come out, but that's not necessarily the job to get that dash and survive. That job is to get the dash, get the info. You may die in the process, but it worked out because IDK got a 3-piece and you took the round.
Yeah, and IDK in the previous map did the same thing where they got some significant value early. They have the neural theft, so if they do get an elimination, they have full knowledge of where the rest of the positioning is for Boise State. So these early gain values and intel gathering become a significant advantage for British Columbia, as now you see some firing through box up towards C. Need to be cognizant of C long, though. I don't believe there's any long-range marshal or things to worry about for the moment, since it is still only this 3rd round. But as the smoke comes out, it denies vision, and that's going to be a reposition here for Boise State to go back to grab the spike.
Still holding this A side, too. I have a little bit of information. Haven't been paying attention too much to it, but I imagine there's nobody that's pushed to challenge J-Bag. They're being smart of their angles right here, knowing somebody could be holding and peeking them. 4-man push. The dog comes out, going to clear close angles. Smoked up a little bit heavy. Here comes Paranoia. Digging a little bit of blind behind box. IDK is on site here. Was able to escape. Dart is going to get a lot of information with the stun.
Oh, 1-for-1 trade. Wallbang from Aldum. Nice! That's a beautiful shot from Skies. Gets 2, mind you, with that, since they are in line. One of the things that Boise State was having a problem with, and British Columbia found themselves lined up, easily taken down.
And that's exactly what you're looking for, Boise State. I mean, that's sort of, yeah, you go down 2 rounds, it's looking sort of drastic, but it's so early, and this is the first round where rifles really come into play. But this is also, this next round is going to be sort of where British Columbia has the rifles as well, and they're going to be able to play a little more on even with Boise State. But I 100% agree with you. I think getting those hero moments of getting a 2-3 piece is so impactful in those moments in the rounds, and ultimately you do that every other round. Sooner or later, you end up taking the advantage.
The other part of this, too, is this is a better map for Boise State. They've played this more consistently, and I feel that there is a better understanding of strategy on it. Unfortunately, you're going to see all of them get taken down very early in this. British Columbia playing a little bit more forward than they have previously. The smoke's going to deny anything in C long for the time being, but nobody's going to be in their sights for Damio until they look for the jump peak. A couple of shots come out, but no chip damage.
Daimyo's there alone on that C-long angle, which could be easily, you may think, Pearson's going to pick on Skies. Just like that, getting a lot of value on C and a lot of information as well. Because now you're just running another split.
And that's one of those moments, too, where you kind of wonder if you want to have this pincer maneuver happen simultaneously, because if they get that one trade, they at least get the flank onto the jet. But there's so many different angles to be extremely cognizant of as you maneuver through these double doors. As Ruriana looking for their own opportunity to push through here. Fortunately gets taken down once again. Pearson able to just take 3 in total, holding that C site. And now 2 going to collapse back to get the spike. Could opt to just go straight for B at this point, right up the center choke.
And nobody once again has pitched J-Bag. Just as I say that, going to eat my words, and J-Bag gets swung on by IDK. Ultimately goes down to the Phantom. Daimyo putting it in a 1v4 situation, make it 1v3. Having 10 seconds, there is absolutely no hope to put Spike on a bomb site. So they're just going to stick around, maybe get a lucky little eco pick here if anyone's feeling egotistic and swinging, but more than likely isn't going to happen. Already went down 2 numbers, no reason to risk it all.
Yeah, might as well save the weapon.
Yeah.
Not allow it to be forfed. And look for the next round. Has some reservation. The buys come in. Heavy armor and some light armor for Boise State, with a significant going in towards those rifles. And curious if with the value that's been brought to the table for British Columbia, if now they're going to start looking for these long-range weaponry, the operator, how that's going to hold on to C long, because they've seen Boise State on 3 separate occasions now lean into that. So at this point, I think they have to abandon that and take positioning elsewhere, which they're looking to do towards this B middle choke point.
A lot of attention got put early on Garage. Then a little bit towards B, splitting a little bit of this midsection of the map. Damia looking at ult out of here. Playing for info, perhaps? No, actually, yeah. Getting on the backside.
The shadows. What a shot from Damio. Haven't been able to find much value in those long-range gun trades, but this time around it does favor Boise State. 5 versus 3, repositioned out now and looking to hold this flanking area towards their spawn. And at this point, just wait for British Columbia to push out and go for the default position, which there's going to be a lot of weapons and a lot of sightlines focusing those final few.
And if you're Boise State and you play this right, you're already in the post-plant spot. C-Long is so difficult to really sort of hold on to without a whole lot of smokes, and they don't have that.
And you have this Killjoy turret as well, making sure that you don't even have to peek yet. The turret's going to start doing the damage first, so you know somebody's within sight as they maneuver out into it, and that's just really well done. Great coordination from Boise State, understanding what is necessary and that win condition.
And that turret also as well takes attention off from the attackers as well. Is now you have to pay attention to the turret, and it's one of those things that you're fearful of timing. I might go shoot this turret, and all of a sudden, the KJ swings out, Rihanna swings out, Ottoman swings out, and you got a free little easy pick as long as that timer is out for you.
Ultimate-wise, it would be nice for Skies to be able to get blades going into the next round, so if things go a little bit of awry to have it. But there is 2 on the return. British Columbia have 2 to their... that's going to be a Trailblazer aggressing, getting the intel.
Oh.
This is getting really dicey,
Yeah.
and Boise State is just going to leave it. They do not feel comfortable there, and I think it's a decided play to rotate opposite.
100%. They get the info that 2 are there on site along with knives, and I believe that was the Cypher they spotted that was holding A long. Oh, getting the pick through the smoke. Skies hit the headshot in the Omen. They lose most of their smoke abilities. That's gone as well. Yams is going to get traded out. A little bit Garage.
Things getting dicey. Rihanna gets another. Nice job overall, playing to their strength. They very, very much needed this. And again, it was that understanding over by A. It's those split microseconds for whoever made the decision to say, all right, let's not go into this. It's not worth it. Completely hard rotate. They go back to a strong position. C is completely open. Everyone from UBC has to completely change trajectory and look to combat onto C, which is not a healthy position.
Nope. They're forced into not only with their buy having a very bad economy in that round and not having advantageous guns. There's also the point where Pearson, I think, missed most of their knives. Thought they got the elimination on Skies purely from sort of game sense wise. They thought they got the elim, didn't get it, and Skies ends up living through that, which is a valuable eco kill that could have boosted them a little bit. Ultimately, they lost the round anyway, but unfortunate, those small little things and the big call that in the moment made Daimyo getting the pick on Pearson in garage, peeking window. Rebound is just going to sit here looking for a cheeky little rotate. Anyone who doesn't properly clear this angle is going to pay for it. But have yet to really take really advantage of any sight and sort of push through.
And this is that peaks and valleys in momentum we talked a little bit about. There was some hyper-aggression at the start, a little bit more reserve now, looking to start pressing in. Curious if anyone from British Columbia is going to move out into the open, leaving themselves vulnerable. And Boise State, they could look to do this once again over towards this C site, as we've had 2 rounds prior. And there's great coverage if there is any sort of lurk with not only the bot. Oh, there's going to be Hemmer, though, playing forward over towards that C long. Gets guiding lighted. Rihanna. Ooh, Rihanna's going to look to hold this angle. I think they should have flanked on it. A little bit of a denial, though. Smoke comes through. Turret being shut down, so they know there is a flank. They're rotating back. The Rolling Thunder comes out. Great pickup for 2, though, by Daimyo. They get the rest of them, though. The reposition again. Over towards double door. Guiding light blocking by Box. They need to go for this plant. They finally get it.
Daimyo at the 4-piece. They know where Breach is. That stun kind of lets them know they're in back of sight. Daimyo trying to get the flank here. Yeah, I'm supposed to get one, and that's Daimyo getting an ace. 7 rounds into the game. Truly went off there, and I feel like the really big point here was this Omen TPing his back corner sight. I was really surprised that the Omen actually committed to that, and then the Rolling Thunder misses Daimyo, not anticipating that, you know, there might be somebody there, and gets really rewarded for it.
Yeah, this is the second time that we've seen that tech come through. And at this point, if UBC doesn't handle that or isn't aware to control how that site is being played from Boise State, it is going to be, in the long run, very challenging to work with, because now you have the ultimate from Daimyo to play even more so across the map, to utilize that to their advantage and see what they can gain from this. It's just something that you have to constantly keep tabs under, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see aggression to B, aggression to A, default back to C, find themselves in this position again. And British Columbia now at this point has to be very cognizant of where they put their numbers, because this constant rotation back to their default is very dominant.
Oh, they know the Jet is
gonna go
there.
for the wall bang.
Oh, that shorty is dangerous. J-Back getting one as well.
Yeah, no, that was a great cleanup. Boise State taking advantage of this, especially since they don't really have the weaponry to do this. So
no.
Oh, but okay. IDK with the Sheriff coming in on the flank. Doesn't matter how much eco, still going to get value. Unfortunately, shut down. And now we go back once again. This will be Boise State able to take this unless things go massively awry. But I do not foresee that with these seconds.
Yeah, there was no util. Trent was watching garage, and Alarmbot was watching the flank, the kind of lurk from C. Now in this post-plant position, you do have Rolling Thunder, you do have Lockdown, you do have Knives. But this is a 1v3, so theoretically you play this right and you time your peekings, you don't lose this no matter what. Unless the British Columbia Sova is cracked, which is not going to happen, as Rihanna is going to secure the 8th round for the side of Boise State.
And this is where you see map confidence, I think, come into play with their overall composition. Everything's starting to fall in line. This is just a repeat of how we saw them play last week, just even more competitive against their opponent. Now you're going to have a decent buy, though. IDK does have the Neural Theft. We also have the Hunter's Fury available for British Columbia and how they want to push this in. Most likely going to look to try and use the Hunter's Fury, especially when it comes to a plant aspect. Could use it early, but I would look to see them play a little bit more passive with it. But there is, as I say, passive, some aggression early coming through aggressively, especially with the Sova Recon Bolt.
It's been primarily used on A a whole lot of A too. He's deciding their aggression very well too. They're never really in the same spot for aggressing. A little bit of split on the C side. This lockdown might be a fake, as there's only 2 really committed to it.
Yeah.
Gonna make a whole lot of noise here. Yeah, we do see the little bit of shift walk around C long. The camera does spot them though. They're aware of it. They aren't gonna commit to B anymore.
And you can see the rush from 2. The second that camera got intel and they were all maneuvering back to C makes it a lot more challenging holding the corner, but there's still a great 2-piece. Hunter's Fury gets 1 though from long range. I knew able to deny Sky's positioning, so it's still a 3 for 3 with 50 seconds and the spike's been picked up.
Gets the Enfield, the ultimate. Great use of the Omen ultimate there. Arguably one of the hardest. Ooh, gets a really good peek on the timing, but Pearson has an They're aware of this now.
Now getting dangerous.
I knew completely
Rihanna's
stunned.
got to go out there quickly. They're going for the defuse. They have to push it. I don't know if they heard the sound cue. They have to aggress onto it. The alarm bot is triggered. There's the second attempt. Rihanna's waiting to make sure that they're holding on to it. They step away from it. Back in. Oh, and gets it. Oh my, that was really, really well played by Pearson. 3 attempts on the tap to make sure that you put Boise State into a very challenging position of knowing which one they're going to stick and hold. That's so devastating.
That's actually a really unfortunate amount of health that that Skies was put at. Really good spray transfer, and at the perfect amount of health for just one of those sort of ultimate charges to just kill you. That's just so unfortunate to see and put you down another round, which definitely could have changed it out. But that, yeah, I feel like the kill from Inoob right there, the pick being completely stunned, changed the momentum of that round entirely.
Blade Storm active. Nice denial for the moment.
Oh!
Wow. And Pearson's gonna get the shot.
A wall bang nonetheless.
Yeah. That's kind of like Salt Wound, but you know, it's okay. Salt will fade. Pain will vanish. IDK gets a pick, though. Nice recovery, though, for 2. IDK gets a second themselves, though. Still the advantage for British Columbia. First time we've been able to see any presence towards this B site. Nice smoke coverage for the moment, but IDK gets a third, wants the 4th as they approach. And unfortunately, it's going to be Inoob with a flanking angle through the smoke. Gets this and now makes it an even 5 for 5 in rounds.
Keeping it so close here, and you know, IDK's finding so much value here in Garage, getting the neural theft off, getting 2 picks, and then I don't remember exactly who the 3rd pick was, but finding so much value in this like singular concentrated area, and no trades, you know, no synchronized swings coming out from Boise State as well. I feel really hurt them, and gave a lot of favor to British Columbia unnecessarily.
And I'm really curious to see how this is going to be played out. Again, we've got the decent buy here from Boise State. Nice responsiveness to that recon bolt, but there is full awareness that there is aggression. 5 to boot, by the way, moving in towards A. Initial corner managed. Trailblazer comes out over towards box. Ooh, Paranoia swings by, doesn't clip Skies, holding this corner, and there's so much utility put into this, and unfortunately it's a 1-for-1 trade. The spray and pray through the smoke. And the plant comes in. Post-plant active. British Columbia now has to respond.
Rihanna is looking for their shock darts. Luckily for us, I knew was.
Already.
IDK picking 1. Knives was used. Rihanna getting the pick on IDK. Look to swing one more. Gets stunned. Daimyo's in hell, covering the flank here. Both of them could be here. Here, 1 gets 1. Pearson has the op, and Daimyo closing it out with the crossfire angle. Beautifully played by Boise State.
Yeah, Daimyo has really put on a performance with this one and understands just the timing and the tech into this. And that was one of those things where, like you mentioned, the crossfire was so significant here. They had to go for the peak. There's the initial damage coming in from Sky plays by Aldum. And then now we're going to look to see this once again significantly when we talk about how to enter in onto this site. It's so significant that Boise State is getting into these angles and managing these points. And there's some great retaliation coming in from British Columbia, but at this point, it's always being Boise State taking control of these early engagements and really denying any sort of stability to come through from British Columbia.
Good jump spot. It's going to pay for it with a lot of HP lost. Wow, Hamer holding this crossfire, and that's a lot of damage coming out from Inoob as well, picking up a pick and getting some damage on rebound. It is easily healed, though. And now Boise State down with the numbers as well. Might commit the Seekers here. Get a little bit of info, give Boise State a chance here. If Rihanna gets a pick here, the Seekers will 100% be committed. But this 2v4, down the numbers, probably going to play a little more aggressive here once they figure out what they want to do. Ottoman having a lot of util as well. So a lot to disposable. The Seekers are committed. That's a lot of info. That B is pretty open.
Yeah. And now this rush to B is their best option. Alarm bot has been sought out, so they're going to look for a flank as well. This is now becoming very, very challenging. And I do actually like this forward reposition.
Ooh.
But Yams gets the takedown. Spike comes in. And now Aldum with a guiding light, a hope and a prayer. Recon bolt landed. They know exactly where you're at, and now they managed to take this round for a 6-6 scoreline. But I do want to comment though, because I didn't get to say it in the previous round. I made a gesture towards the second lockdown. That the number of times that we're seeing lockdown is pretty insane. I believe it was 3 in total. I almost think there was a 4th one as well, with how significant we've been seeing this play from the Killjoy and that contribution to these engagements, getting those so consistently and really contributing to the disruption of British Columbia. And with this being a 6-6 scoreline right at the swap, this is such a compelling game to fight against this, and Boise State really do want to bring this into a 3rd map so they can have a closer opportunity of a redemption match.
100%. They're looking to go blow for blow with British Columbia here. British Columbia, especially having such a lead, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a 13-5 win for British Columbia. It is a welcome sight to sort of see the tempo change a lot and be a little more close. Even the stuns are going to be traded on both sides. The gel on that right side might be heading into sewer here for A. Is sitting there looking at the angle. Does pick off J-Bag with the swing. Was able to dash out. It's a big pick for them.
We need a more defensive positioning for A, and you can see that Skies wants to move in with Damio. Shot comes through, gets the weapon pickup. The suspense continues. The turret does get intel. Smoke is active in window. And Aldum with that guiding light waiting to use it in the corner. Actually going to choose to go down C long.
We're making a call out there. I'm going to dog out Garage here. There was a little bit of info. There was a little bit of shots. It's going to clear it out. It's completely clear. They do see the Omen there. Omen might not think he was seen. Oh, Pearson with the ghost. Gets Skies. The Paranoida comes in. Daimyo's quick. Daimyo picking up a 2-piece. Looking for 3 more here. Smokes it off again. I don't think bomb was dropped, and there is one flanking through garage, jump through window.
Spike planted.
Bomb goes down.
Oh, what a jump peek, and can't get the trade. Pearson for 3 now. Damio, the only one possibly able to shut it down in these final moments. Spike is active. Paranoia to block sight when moving through. Camera denied. What a play, but needs to rush now. Okay, can't get it. It was, again, worthy effort, though. British Columbia take this now, so next round's going to be a lot more challenging for Boise State. They'll have to look for the following round and how they want to play this. And I'm curious if Boise State, because we've seen them before when they come to an eco round, play hyper-aggressive and look for a flank. Yeah. I think we could potentially see the same thing here. A little bit of a force buy as well. Stingers and a Sheriff. Actually, hesitant on the Sheriff, but 2 Stingers at least gives them something. No armament. And just look at that stack, too. 28 and 4 for Damio.
Yeah, just having
sheer kill contribution overall is just feeling dominant on this map.
I mean, Daimyo looking for a little bit of an off angle here. Daimyo's going to hold this cubby here. Let it get a timing. Dart is committed up to mid. That might have been a miss from the Sova, I believe so. A little bit info on A. Daimyo has yet to see anything over at C here. Hear a little bit of footsteps over mid towards garage. That's Camber committed as well. Also misplaced, I believe, on the door. Could be entirely wrong here.
Slow movement from British Columbia. A lot of pings, though. Guiding light comes out from C long. Boise State, the suspense is rising. Recon Bolt gets a 1-for-1 trade, but the weapon is there. Aldum is too far away to go out and risk their life for that. They're going to play it, though. They want to see if they can get the pickup on it.
Dog
Not
might
let
be
that
committed.
go to waste.
He's going to sit there, actually.
Yeah, that's such a challenging decision. You don't really want to waste dog for that.
Yeah.
30 seconds left.
Skies is going to be traded out.
Through the smoke and the wall bang, mind you.
J-Bag does pick up the stinger, though. So that's one of their stingers back in their hand. I think Ottoman might have the other one as well. As
Yeah, Oldham does have it. They're taking a massive lurk here. You were right.
Good
Great
pick.
pickup as well.
But that trip is there. If they can get the pick, they know now. No point in hiding it. The paranoia comes out. It's going to force both of those Boise State players to back off. Coming through the turn, it's going to go down. A little bit of misplace. Not going to find the info. Smoke goes down just in time. Oh, the pick. There's one British Columbia player. Yeah, it is IDK. Their top fragger right now. A little bit of ring around of Rosie. Picks one. Has the Phantom. Gets the second.
No! Oh, what a clutch. What a play by IDK. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but I think it did. It was a slant rhyme. We'll call it. Yeah, I think it was a slant rhyme. But regardless, yeah, Boise State with only 2 stingers managed to play that as closely as they did. I've said it on a couple of occasions. Really, really great props that when they play at a disadvantage, it's like this level up factor for them.
Yeah.
They have the awareness in how to play when they're at the disadvantage, and it really, really is so close. So this is what we saw even when it came into the previous map. Despite it being a 13-5 scoreline, there were moments just like this where it was extremely neck and neck.
Contributes to how close these teams really are, that these maps can go in anyone's favor given the day and if you're feeling hot or not on the MEK, if those shots are connecting. Right now for British Columbia, IDK is definitely feeling it with that Phantom. I'm going to use a guiding light and a jump spot. Wow.
That was a good one.
That's
okay. It's like me. It's like me back when I was a kid. No, you're fine. I mean, it's just like those good old tongue twisters where you're like rubber baby buggy bumpers or things like that.
I do not know that one. That one's new to me.
Oh, I'll have to give you a whole list of mine. They're pretty
no.
good. There's a lot of them. As we do see if there's a lot of opportunity here for Boise State to be able to take them down. British Columbia again. This extensive hesitancy in pressing in when they get to this 30-second range for timing is both, I think, a really good play against Boise State, but it's also such a ballsy one where they just put themselves on the line that they have to make it work. And they've been managing to do so consistently the last couple of occasions that we've seen it. Gunshots through the window, a beautiful crossfire, one from down below by Box and the other from Hall. All right. But Boise not out of this yet.
3v3 numbers are even. Skies is low, though. They do have post plant here. Here's a cage. Didn't get any info for them. The trip is going to be shot out at the peak. Oh. 2 of them sit in there. IDK sit in lower box. And the Omen sit in that top box. What a little bit off angle. This window crossfire angle that they got going on was really nice. And luckily, Boise State was able to recover and get trading picks. But, man, that was brutal.
And then you're just looking to see the elevated play. They know that the tripwire is completely taken care of, and they can just hold these angles. Again, just really, really well played on C. It's been very dominant for both teams playing towards this C site. That's something that's really strong for both of them, at least from what we've seen. More so Boise State, at least thus far. But now we go into a more light buy. Only going to go in for partial purchase, light armor, a shorty. I believe I also saw a stinger in there. So Boise State, we've seen them be able to pull something out of nothing, and maybe they can do so here with a little bit of a rad angle on that shorty. But fortunately, the guiding light mid-action is going to be taken down by Yams.
I like this angle held by Skies, just barely caught out the timing here. Pearson's going to get one. Is hurt, though. Most definitely at least half HP. Daimyo looking for the spray through smoke. Is it going to find anything? W2 greedy. Who knows? They probably got chip damage a little bit there. Daimyo is the only one with an ultimate here, and not going to be too useful in this situation here. J-Bag getting a lot of chip damage to themselves through the wall. There's Dart committed. Can land somewhere. We have no idea. Oh, it's Shocks, actually.
Yeah, they've been peppering damage into heaven so consistently. There's actually great knowledge to know that there is the Omen in that inner right corner, but unfortunately, great follow-up. Pearson has really elevated themselves to face off against Boise State, and it's been such a unfortunate turn of events and how much value Pearson has been bringing on this jet play with a combination of their mobility and just being able to land their shots.
Do you want to point out I decided to do straight up and down double bounce shark darts?
Yeah.
That was I haven't seen that in a while. Normally I'm used to the more
It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
I personally, whenever I do play Sova, that's like my go-to thing. So we've got a tactical pause here. We're going to be able to give some time here. Skies makes the decision to say this is a talking point. They need to try and refocus. And while we have a hot second, so the other one that I mentioned is a skunk set on the stump. And the stump thunk, the skunk stunk, and the skunk thunk, the stump stunk. That's another one.
There's not many moments, and I honestly I've been using this word a lot. You've just flashbanged my brain. Like, I have no idea what that was. Honestly, the only words I heard was skunk, and I think that's it. If you asked me to regurgitate that statement, I would be unable to. But hopefully Boise State's able to sort of make the turntables turn here again in their favor. I really hope this timeout does something for them then, and I really hope it's not just sort of a panic timeout or something that makes you feel off guard. I feel like there's really, I feel like Boise State is really good at that. Especially that team is being very communicative, and sort of talking these things through. And really, and so their Sky is actually taking a really big gamble here, going for the glass cannon build. Up and light armor. There is light armor. Not no armor. That's better than some other times I've seen a Skies go for a glass cannon build.
To be fair, I actually do like the option for going for the op.
Yes.
They're taking a more slow-paced approach at this point and wanting British Columbia to walk into them and making sure that they can guarantee the C site is really substantial. Like we commented earlier, C has been a very dominant point that both teams have really leaned into and has yielded value. And now with you being able to hold this angle and try and watch C, you have your positioning elsewhere over by A, which has been another position of pressure. So we'll see how this fends off. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see another 20 seconds go by before British... Oh, shot, but it misses, unfortunately, and they have full knowledge of this too.
Both of them being caught behind the box. This could be dangerous for them. They could get pincered out. Or Dynamo getting one. No. Both of them going down, though, however. Numbers are even, though, but they also lose the op in the meanwhile. They do have lockdown. However, now, because of the plant, I knew just got the ultimate as well. So post-plant is more than likely how they're going to play this. Here comes out lockdown as well, being committed. They do have full backside control and a lot of actually full garage control, but yeah, this lockdown is just going to force them to play post-plant here, and yeah, here comes out the ultimate. Nobody's going to peek.
Oh, J-Bag going to have to hug the wall, looking to give some of their own. They actually don't have full vision with Hunter's Fury on the spike, but they swing down C long, goes for a tap, but unfortunately can't. There was so much invested into that glass cannon operator build, which didn't yield any value. And once the op shot came through and did not hit the Sova, British Columbia really, really knew how to play that with their CC, their crowd control. They're managing to be able to just deny vision. They got the flash as well onto Skies, which doesn't give any additional value. It was just rough. And now on round 11, you're going to have this partial bye looking into potentially the final round, and that's really all you have to play to.
Yeah, you have to play like this is the last round of your life right now, because in this series it could be, because even doing this sort of this partial bye, trying to get every pick on the neural theft, is going to find it. Daimyo's found out, does get the paranoia and the breach stun. They are going to pick up one on IDK here, and they do have the gun. They do have a Phantom available. I believe Daimyo is going to pick it up. J-Bag using the Spidey sense. It's going to get picked there, and Sky's pulling out the knives as well. Clearing this out, clearing long, smoking off a little bit of sights. Sort of a revolves worst here. Rolling Thunder is also committed here. They want to commit every piece of util they can to possibly make sure Skies doesn't get tagged, is going to sit in this box. Oh, gets immediately dinked. They're
Pearson
now down
finds
2-2.
the angle. The smoke comes in for coverage. Recon bolt.
Good off angle.
Didn't actually get to see it. It bypassed the corner wall. Pearson still doing so. Dash over top. Gust spy. Rounds the corner. Shotgun is there. Attempts to go for the tap. Brings them out. Gets the shot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do it in time, though.
Oh,
it was so, see, this is every time Boise State, like, they're able to pull out these moments. It's just these little tiny micro details that unfortunately either happen in relation to timing or just weaponry disadvantage. And in this case, it was both of those. And they're still making this compelling.
Yeah, these rounds are so close. What a heartbreaking loss, especially for J-Bag right there. Again, that three-piece, securing so much and having such an impact play from sniffing out the corner peak to getting the off-angle pick on the Sova as well and getting the final dink. But their Jet played that really well. It only needs to play time because that bomb is so close. Oh, Pearson.
Oh, no.
Not being punished for this at all. Daimyo getting the trade. They're going to push back. This 4-4. And Pearson is low on knives. But one dink can trade it out. And they do have bomb, actually. And the skies.
Nice. Daimyo does not want this to get away from them. They're fighting tooth and nail with a 3-2 advantage. British Columbia now taking a different trajectory on which spike they want to go to. They don't actually look. They went for the reload or the weapon change there, and IDK is left open and vulnerable.
Really good pick there. Now it's in a 3-1 situation. This last British Columbia player has the bomb. You have to play this really smart here. You can't even really... oh! The swing on Rihanna is going to get the pick, making this a 1v2 here. I don't think this player is dinked. Also has Rolling Thunder as well. And it's going to get the plant down. One smoke and one piece of util for the TP from Daimyo. Oh, playing the off angle.
Oh, they did. Okay. That's all that I wanted. I did not want them to peek at the same time because I was going to be so upset if that got both. The Skies staggers it out, makes sure that they are not in line, was not ready for it, and the trade comes through. That is Boise State still here with a lifeline going into this next one. Oh, but they didn't get like a full buy, I think, either. Oh, they're close. They're close to a full spine. It's as close as it can be.
I think the only person that doesn't use a Vandal so far is IDK, which, you know, in that case, the light armor doesn't. It matters if they're going for body shots. Most players at this level are pretty much, you know, headhunters at this point. They're headhunting demons, so it should be relatively okay. But losing a little bit of util can be the impact. Playing's really aggressive. Does chip damage.
That blind came out just in time to buy space for Daimyo to hug the wall. Reposition. But no one's there. Putting a second smoke. Both hit by Paranoia. Needs to be extremely careful. Boise State playing hyper-aggressive on this. Looking for a wrap angle, too, here. Oh, this is so scary. And at this point, Boise State's going to play back. I like this. I like that they have this ebb and flow of aggression and now defensive play.
They understand. They're all full health as well, so it's not something of major contention. Almond's going to be utiled out here. Getting a little bit of heals there. Seekers are available. So Smoke's coming out. See, they have the proper read. The rotates are there. They're coming out. Darth Rihanna has the lineups. Only one Nano Swarm to put there, but one Nano Swarm can cause a lot of damage. It's going to get it out, flesh out a little bit of the site. They don't have a whole lot of control here.
Seekers. Where will they divide? Are they going to go right? Nope. They're going to swing around box, taking C long. Rihanna going to make sure they watch the flank, though, so nobody can get the opportunity, especially because that one Seeker did waver away. Daimyo gets two. There is a third from Rihanna. But a recovery by Pearson. They've got the weapon upgrade. The defuse is active. Gets two with J-Bag. Beautifully done for another round in favor of Boise State.
The spray transfer there, just these hero plays, exactly what I talked about in the beginning of this game. These hero plays are so impactful, and they almost need to happen to secure any round win, and more or less a game win for you. Daimyo getting the two-piece, shutting down the Rolling Thunder, getting a perfect timing, and there's J-Bag with a beautiful spray transfer. Wow. Keeping Boise State alive to go one more round.
Click heads? Absolutely.
Exactly. Doc sees the game, got him on lock. Dar's going to be committed. Flushes out a little bit of A sewer. Dog. Committed also to clear out sewer as well. Clearing the angles, nobody there. Actually, nobody in sewer at all. Oh, they do see the jet lurking.
But it looked like it was a shorty that they had on hand.
I think it was a classic. I think they shot the dog at the classic. I think it was. I think jump spot is gonna find anything immediately off of C. Does mean it's clear. Oh, the trade. Oh, and that's really fast aggression.
Oh no! Had the updraft to take the high ground position with the Rolling Thunder. Now, as you do see the rest with the aftershock coming in, 16 HP, gonna dream for Skies. Double smoke comes out for coverage with a dash forward, maneuvering through the thick of things to find a unique angle. Gets the wall bang, and that's the spike.
It is IDK. IDK's known to sort of clutch up these situations before. The second round bye, they've done it before. Can they do it again? They do have bomb control, and they do have a lot of site control as well. I don't know if there's quite a whole lot that IDK can do. Lock down. Round 9 win for Boise State, keeping it alive. Once again, it's been 3 rounds. Boise State's been on this like lifeline, like on the last line of it, and the soul of this team has really turned out to be made of fire and blood here.
Boiling indeed, but this is
like
Boise State. Yeah, I mean, again, Damien just knows how to play this map, and really is such a contributing factor. Not to devalue anybody else for Boise State, but there's just something about this Omen play and just the tech and the knowledge of how to really utilize these angles and that reposition factor from the Omen.
Rolling Thunder is available for the by Boise State. This is a really fast commit. A pick. Wow, on the updraft. Rebound and making sure to shut down that push. Paranoia is there. iNuke is taken down. Good trade. Yan gets 1. Skies get the 3-piece.
Wow.
And before, honestly, I could even really digest and understand what happened on my screen, the round's over.
Yeah. That was quick and clean. Boise State really taking advantage of this. And this updraft shot.
Oh, my.
That's nutty.
It was
Buriana just comes in with some stellar play, and there was an attempt to try and you could see the front of the barrel, but unfortunately just couldn't get that shot. But it didn't matter. I mean, the fact that you trade one, everybody else is there. Now you're going to have an operator coming out as well. All of them investing into this because they have the currency. They want to try and play this a little bit more slow and see if the second attempt with the operator can actually yield value.
And it does.
Oh my!
Wow. They might honestly not have been expecting the operator to be there because sort of this Boise State team is clinging on to life in their perspective, and they might not have been expecting that. And that's the perfect little pick. Now they don't have any smokes here. They only have the breach util to clear them out, and Sova that'll be able to use the darts and the drone and to really clear this out. But C once again being locked down, committed really by 2 hard commits and 1 soft commit by J-Bag on the breach here, and A also being scouted out by Ultimate again. Another shot committed. Was missed.
This is when we start talking about mental fortitude.
Yes.
And UBC right now, it's got to be rattled. Like, they're so close. They're 1 round away, and this is a multi-round recovery from Boise State.
Yeah, this is so important for them not to break down, not to get on edge of like this is last round, just get it done. They need to keep respecting their opponents and push it to the edge. And in the same with that Boise State is finding these clutch moments. If they want to win, they've got to find it themselves. And IDK is going to get a missed shot. Pearson gets the lucky spray through it all. 2 cages. J-Back gets stuck in. Oh.
Goes for the pigtail and doesn't get the shot. Lockdown active, covering all of A site. Hunter's Fury, though, through the wall.
That's elevated.
Dash forward into the smoke. Yams shuts down Sky, and Ruriana can't trade it out. Yams gets the execution. And a well-rounded attempt to fight back against a very, very worthy opponent.
Very dangerous nonetheless. And the Idaho Army National Guard invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 job offerings of $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho National Guard is the best team to join. Reach out to them at Twitch at iGuardGaming. Oh wow! Just what a game, honestly. I mean, there's really no way to summarize it else besides that, and just I know where I'm at a loss of words. Honestly, I'm at a loss of words here. Simply just because I could almost feel the pressure that Daimyo was putting on the game as well, and being so close to the line. Ultimately, British Columbia was able to. They were able to rally. They were able to get back into it. They were able to recover, and they unfortunately take the map over Boise State. But I gotta hear your final thoughts on all of this. I mean, it's so much to digest and pack at the end of the day, and ultimately just what a match.
I mean, the big thing is when we talk about this being like a redemption moment, because Boise State found themselves at the 2-0 loss previously. Now they find themselves in the same position. But this was, again, despite the first map, and we saw a lot more, of course, in the second one, that this was a lot closer than it looked. Like, realistically, when we look at the comparison between these two teams, there are just very micro details that just need to be refined and understanding your opponent, because there are some significant heads-up plays. There were some great recoveries. You saw right here at the tail end of it, the resilience to go down. And even in those moments of being the underdog when it comes to a variety of different factors, Boise State still is able to, on those occasions, be able to step up and turn this around.
100%. And going right into it, player of the game. I think I can feel it. That I know who you're gonna pick, so I'm actually gonna go with J-Bag at the very end of it. I think J-Bag throughout the entire match had a very consistent performance and had a couple clutch moments that could definitely be added to a highlight reel. I ultimately think J-Bag takes the cake.
All right, so I'm going to say Daimyo, but either one of them really have performed, and we're going to take a look at it for the player of the game for the Idaho Central, and it's going to be Skies, actually. All right. All right, we're gonna be both wrong. We were thinking 50-50 here, but this isn't incorrect, because Fracture, I actually, when we look more recently, there was a lot when it came to map dependency with Omen. But Skies, in situations like these, clutch factors, being able to get some really, really great heads-up plays, even some off angles, especially through these double doors and blast door, it was just really key to helping keep it competitive on Fractured, and still carried a lot of value going into Haven as well.
100%. The player of the game is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central is helping members achieve financial success. Skies is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. What a performance, all in all. Honestly, what a performance from this entire team on Haven, keeping it so close. And big shout out to every player that was on the Boise State team, and a really good congratulations to British Columbia. And as we wrap it all up, you got any final thoughts before we close out the night?
I mean, final thoughts is just keep your head high. I mean, you really, really did, Boise State, have a competitive game here on both maps, despite Fracture being a beast in and of itself, but just continuing to focus on those keys to the game from Doc and being able to elevate yourselves and find those types of advantages that you gain more so in Haven, and just look forward to the matches that you have ahead of yourself.
100%. As we close out here tonight, we have the Idaho National Guard, who is bringing you the top 5 plays of the game and invite you to take your precious critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs with the $20,000 bonus offering and your degree of choice paid for by the Idaho National Guard. They are the best team to join. You know where to reach out to them at Twitch at iGuard Gaming. Go ahead and close it out. Make sure to really I really appreciate you guys being here. 100%. Enjoyed.
No one was detained inside of KJ's ultimate, which is unfortunate. 3 left standing. It looks like Breach is going to be taking some damage as well, about a half health. Skies finds one. Neurotheft is going to get popped. All the locations for the Broncos are now revealed as there's a Molly sent into heaven. Exchange fire. We do lose one.
Skies?
Get the
5
clutch.
HP.
Walking through the smoke.
The tremor. Cypher's cage makes this even more challenging. Everything's been funneled into this, but the second it drops, it's now what a shot coming out from J-Bag. Unfortunately, can't. Okay. Oh! J-Bag was close.
Close angles. Moved up a little bit heavily for paranoia. Did get a little bit blind behind the box. IDK is on site here. Was able to escape. Dart is going to get a lot of information with stun.
1-for-1 trade. Wallbang from Aldum. Nice! That's a beautiful shot from Skies. Gets 2, mind you, with
Coach holding a long. Oh, getting the pick of the smoke. Skies hit the headshot in the Omen. They lose most of their smoke abilities. That's gone as well. Yams is going to get traded out. Columbia Garage.
Things getting dicey. Rihanna gets another. Nice.
IDK picking one. Knives was used. Rihanna getting a pick on IDK. Look this one more. Gets stunned. Daimyo's in hell. Covering the flank here. Both of them could be here. Here one. Gets one. Pierce has the Daimyo.
Oh!
Closing it out.